Good over there. All right, we are live on YouTube, going live on Facebook. Freezing up a little, that's great. Got it. All right, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, channel 7747. Our internal recording is going. Zoom is recording. Without further ado, Deputy Mayor, if you'd like to begin the meeting.
Yes, good evening, everybody, and please rise for a pledge of allegiance.
All right, pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Rami Rice. You're muted, miss. I'm sorry.
Here.
There she is. Councilman Bagan. Present. Councilwoman Organ.
Here.
Councilman Kaplan.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Here.
Mayor Dunleavy. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by resolution number 226-2020, sending a copy to the newspapers officially designated for 2021 by way of resolution number 111-2020, filing a copy in the Township Clerk's office and posting it on the Municipal Building Bulletin Board. And the mayor hereby directs that this statement be included in the minutes.
Thank you very much, and good evening, and welcome to this September 14th, 2021 council meeting. No need to adjust your monitors. I'm not Mayor Dunleavy. Just for the record, also in attendance is our township manager, Dean Kaczynski. We just heard from our township clerk, Doug Roussillon. The person keeping this building, and I'm in the building so I could see it, so beautiful and sparkling clean, is Clarence Barnes and the team from the DPW. Ron Goodman, who I'd like to give a special shout out to, is here in the building, constantly volunteering, cable casting to make sure that everybody at home, everybody on social media, and the people that like to take the videos get it. And thank you, Ron, for all that hard work. And I'd like to also recognize our township attorney, John Shadanian, from the law firm of McCusker and Selmy, Rose, and Shadanian and Carvelli. Upcoming events: the next televised council meeting will take place on Tuesday, October 15th. I'm sorry, Tuesday, October 5th. I'm a little rusty, trying to figure out how this whole thing works still. Mayor Dunleavy has been doing a spectacular job. At 7 p.m. Sunday, September 19th at 2:30 p.m. in the Rhoda Center parking lot, the Si Se Puedo mural will be painted. Please come on out, lend a hand. Should be a great event. Thank you, Councilman Pagan, for really putting that together. Sunday, September 19th, 3 p.m. at the north end of the Tyrion Park in the Mary Topolsky Garden, there'll be a jazz concert followed by a new rain barrel dedication. That sounds fun. Let us stand, if we don't mind, for a moment of silence for the loss of Leonard Schwartz, who was the greenhouse director of Teaneck and the son of former and late council member Lou Schwartz. Thank you very much. Council met in closed session to discuss the following advisory.
Sorry, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. Lenny Schwartz that lived in Teaneck?
Leonard Schwartz.
Yes.
Wait. I'm sorry. I apologize. This is the first I'm hearing about this, and I do apologize. You want to, in the country club area, I'm forgetting. Is that the Lenny Schwartz we're discussing?
I honestly don't know where he lives. I just know that he was the greenhouse director and son of the former council member Lou Schwartz. I think just recently I mentioned the greenhouse when we were on one of your Karen and Mark weekend walks. And we spoke to a resident and we explained to them that one of the most charming and beautiful things about Teaneck is the fact that we have this greenhouse and the fact that we have these plots of land for the residents.
Right. Got it.
So,
Understood. Thank you.
I think he passed away suddenly Saturday evening, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, sorry. There's a 41 Irvington, and then there's the 944 Warren. I believe it's 41 Irvington because that's where Mr. Schwartz Sr. lives. So I apologize. Thank you. I just wanted to know which one it was. Thank you. God bless us all. Rest in peace.
Okay. Council met in closed session to discuss advisory board interviews, COVID-19 update, PSC&G diversion, potential sale of township property, labor contract, security, fire department, SWIP Cub lease, personnel, legal issues, litigation updates, and Oprah.
Real quick, Deputy Mayor, if it's
Yes.
all right.
Yeah.
While we're in the section of just announcements before we begin our meeting, I also want to notify members of the public and council, just confirming with everybody that Municipal Election District 6, which registered voters in that district, they would vote at the 5-star premier residences historically over off Commander Walk. After contemplating and many discussions with the administration over there and Bergen County and the election offices, we decided to move this election district, not move the election district, but the polling location for election district 6 to the American Legion Hall to join Municipal Election Districts 4 and 5 in that polling location. There's more than enough room. We've inspected it. The move has been official now. Some notices have been posted around our official mechanisms for the township, and official letters are going out to all those registered voters this week. We just dropped a bunch in the mail. So again, if you have voted at 5-star premier residences, historically, you are now over at the American Legion Hall, right across the street from Stop and Shop, just a few blocks up. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call the township clerk's office. We're here for that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Okay, first order of business, presentations. We have the honor of giving a presentation, certificate of recognition to Howard Rose for his many years on the planning board. And certainly he's been a very active resident, including the Board of Education.
You can hold it up if you want.
I will hold this up. Is Howard Rose here?
I think I see him on here.
Let's bring him in.
I just saw you, Howard Rose. We're bringing you in, Mr. Rose.
Okay, Howard Rose, we have a certificate from the entire Township Council presented to you for serving time on the Township Planning Board for 17 years. The Township thanks you for your service, and as I mentioned, that's just one of many ways that you've contributed and given back to the community. You are appreciated. Thank you very much. Here is your certificate, and Doug will get it to you. Mr. Rose, would you like to say a few words?
You're muted, Howard.
Okay, while you, go ahead, Howard.
Here we are.
Oh, yeah. Howard, you heard the certificate presentation?
Can you hear us, Howard?
I can hear you now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, we presented you a certificate on behalf of the entire Township Council for your dedication and hard work on the planning board for over 17 years, as well as all your hard work for every township resident in your many capacities, including the Board of Education. Thank you, Howard.
Glad to have done it.
Thank you. Any council members wish to say a few words? I know Deputy Mayor Schwartz has had the honor and pleasure of sitting next to Howard Rose for many of those 17 years.
Yes. Yes. I think I've said quite a bit of Howard for years, and I've known Howard for many, both. I look forward. I just wanted to really say is I hope that he's not, he'll continue to be at our council meetings, giving us his input that I've always taken the notes and listened to and acted on. And that while he may no longer represent the Board of Education or the Planning Board, as he likes to say, I look forward to hoping to hear from him for the next 17 years.
Excellent. Thank you. Councilmember Rice.
I just want to say thank you for your service. And I know if it were up to you, you probably would continue to be serving on this planning board. But I really appreciate the 17 years, not just on the planning board, but your service on the Board of Education and your service to our community by having a bookstore. So right in our community. So thank you for all that you do for Teaneck. And I guess we lost you.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other members of council? Councilmember Kaplan.
Just quickly, yeah, I think the first time I ever came to a council meeting, Howard was there, had his little index cards, and handed me a pen so that I wouldn't have to sit on my phone and read. I could write out my thoughts like a proper citizen that's coming up to speak to the public. He promptly took the card away after I spoke. He has served this town in many capacities, whether it's on the Board of Ed or where I sat with him on the planning board. And it takes a certain amount of energy and desire to serve the town sometimes. And he would always speak his mind forcefully, at times changed my mind on several occasions. And I just want to say, I appreciate your service.
Thank you, Councilman Kaplan. All right, next is certificate of recognition for the Teaneck Olympians. We do not have the 2 Olympians here, but I know the county did a ceremony, and I believe Councilmember Rice, you represented the town properly and gave them a certificate from us. So we thank you for that, and we certainly call out the Olympians, and we know that they're watching. For the great job making Teaneck proud. All right, the next we have is a proclamation for the Hispanic Heritage Month, and we've asked Councilman Pagan if he could please read some parts of that proclamation.
Well, actually, instead of reading it, I was just going to talk to you a little bit. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I want to thank my fellow colleagues on this council for signing on to this proclamation, which honors Hispanic Heritage Month and the many contributions and accomplishments made by our Latino community in Teaneck. The Latino population increased by 34.5% in this recent census, and there are more than 8,800 Latinos in Teaneck, which makes up more than 21% of our overall population. The members of the Latino community in Teaneck can trace their roots to so many different places, including Colombia, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Peru, Cuba, Mexico, and Puerto Rico, among other places. These Latinos are doctors, nurses, teachers, engineers, police officers, firefighters, entrepreneurs, veterans, artists, and represent practically every industry that you can think of. And that diversity is one of our greatest strengths in Teaneck, because Latinos help make our community richer, more culturally vibrant, more tolerant, and more inclusive. So thank you for this proclamation. And we will be sharing copies of this proclamation with a number of Latino businesses, organizations, and residents throughout the township during Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs from September 15th to October 15th. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Pagan, and thank you for bringing this to our attention and having us be part of this. All right, next is miscellaneous, nothing. Okay, old business, nothing.
Ellie,
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Rice.
yes, I have a question under old business. Last meeting I had asked about for the Cannabis Subcommittee minutes and attendance, and I was just wondering if perhaps that was forwarded out. I'm still awaiting receipt of that.
I wasn't at that last meeting, but I will ask the Cannabis Subcommittee if you have not sent it to the clerk, if you can, please, and if we can get it to Councilmember Rice and to all the council. Okay, if such minutes exist. Okay.
And Deputy Mayor, sorry, there
Yes.
was the last minute addition this evening
Yeah, what was
about
that?
the petition certifications,
This is under old business?
old business,
Okay,
yes.
would you like to read that?
So just real quickly, as everyone is aware, the Township Clerk's Office received 2 separate petitions a couple months ago. And after thorough review and just a short day in court, it's our decision that the petitions now are certified, and they were sent over to the county this afternoon to be put on the ballot. So I just need to
Thank you.
reiterate that they are
Thank-
certified.
Excellent, thank you for putting that. Okay, new business. I know that there is, okay, first of all, there's possible ABCR public meeting on 9/23. We got a correspondence about that. What action are you looking for?
So I believe, I think Yassine might be on the call. Yassine, if you're on the call, feel free to raise your hand.
Before, and who is the liaison to the community relations?
I believe that's Councilman Rice.
Councilmember Rice, you can represent the,
Sure. So the Advisory Board on Community Relations is requesting permission to make the September 23rd meeting at 7 p.m. open to any public resident. The agenda for the meeting would be listening to public input, about how to improve equity and inclusion in Teaneck. And I believe that is also part of the charge that was given to the advisory board and the follow-up from the Walk the Talk Commission from the mayor. And so they would like to know if they could have that date.
This is an advisory board to the council. Any public correspondence or meetings has to have the approval of the council. Is there any objection to this request? No? Okay, sounds great. Thank you. And Councilmember Rice, thank you please express thank you to the group for putting this together. Next is, we were talking about creating, Councilmember Organ, sorry.
It's okay. We just have 2 nominations to advisory boards.
Okay, yes.
Advisory Board Community Relations, I'd like to nominate Ray Goldberg, and to the Teaneck Municipal Alliance Against Substance Abuse, Leanne Foreman.
Second that.
Second.
You want to do a roll call on that, Mr. Clerk?
Councilwoman Rami Rice.
Yes, I just have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
There were 3 members on the agenda. We only interviewed 2, so I was just curious about the number of positions available.
So for that one applicant, and again, I just want to remind council, being that their applicants were not allowed to say their name until we nominate them. So this particular applicant, let's just refer to them as the applicant. They had to bail out this evening, unfortunately, because of an obligation. I'm hoping to try and get them on for the next closed session.
What about how many positions are available?
I really don't know off the top of my head. I apologize, but I know that we have openings on some openings on most.
So just for procedure, we're going to nominate them tonight, and we'll find out how many, and then by the next meeting, we'll have that answer.
Yeah.
So
Javon, there are at least 2. I think there were 2, maybe 3, but there are at least 2.
Thank you, Karen.
That sounds right.
Okay. Roll call. Go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Clerk.
All good. Councilwoman Rami Rice
Yes.
and Councilman McGahn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Yes, based on the resume as a Mr. Interview.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes.
All right, we'll consider a resolution for the following meeting, and we'll have an update about board membership
Next,
also.
I'm looking for 3 volunteers to be on the swim club subcommittee to discuss some open items. Councilmember Organ. It's like Deputy Mayor Schwartz and Councilmember Rice. Any objection? Anyone else want to be an alternate? Okay, so we have the 3. Let's do a roll call on that.
I had a question.
Yes, Councilman Kaplan.
As I'm on the swim club board, I'm guessing if 3 are on from council, I would be precluded from being on the other side based on my role.
That's a very good question. I would ask the clerk, the attorney that question. And he can advise you, I guess, either now or privately on how to proceed on that. But
Okay.
that does sound like an issue. So, what we may want to do is maybe do 2 and an alternate. Okay. I think council understands the issue. So it may have to be that there's 2 and an alternate, but I will let the attorney weigh in offline after
It was
Councilmember Organ, Deputy Mayor Schwartz, and Councilmember Rice.
All right.
And then they could work it out amongst themselves if it should be 2, and then we have Councilman Kaplan on the other side, but he is still a council member. Okay. You want a roll call on that?
Councilwoman Rami Rice,
Yes.
Councilman McGahn,
Yes.
Councilman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes.
All right, subcommittee formed.
Okay, communications, TDMC, marijuana ordinance communication. Any comments? Move it on.
I think Councilwoman Rami Rice requested this one to be on last meeting.
Okay.
Yes, I did. And unfortunately, it wasn't done in a timely fashion. It was moved to this meeting, but I do think it's important that when community members voice concern, that we are able to make our correspondence public. So it is part of the agenda.
Thank you, Councilmember Rice. Okay, committee reports. Yes, Councilman Pagan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The Shade Tree Advisory Board met recently, and it looks like we are making some progress concerning the Phelps Park Arboretum issue, and that the PPRAB might be willing to work with the Shade Tree Advisory Board on this. So I want to thank the chairs and members of the PPRAB, the Shade Tree Advisory Board, and the Environmental Commission, who were also consulted on this. And we will let everyone know how this turns out as we continue moving forward. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Any other committee reports? Councilmember Rice.
Yes, I do have a full report from our community relations board. So in addition to requesting the open forum, they do request to have a public forum with law enforcement. That was a follow-up to a date in June where they had hoped to have it in July or August, but they would like to have a date to follow up on a public law enforcement community forum. Additionally, they'd like to follow up on its request to put a list of pantries that operate in Teaneck on the township website. And they would like to invite Chief O'Reilly or perhaps the assistant chief to its October meeting. And their October meeting, the August meeting, they invited Dr. Alish Chandri from the Stand Up for Others Pledge to give the board a presentation. The board is working on the final text for the pledge that it would present to council to start a campaign where officials, nonprofit organizations, residents would commit to speak up when they hear hateful comments. They're also requesting a 15-minute time slot on the October 26th meeting to present the advisory board deliverables regarding the equity and inclusion mandate and charge that was given by the mayor that the community relations board would follow up on. So they'd like to have an opportunity to make that presentation.
That's the, I'm sorry, that last one was
A presentation to council, because pursuant to that ordinance that we adopted last 2020 for the advisory boards,
yeah.
we tried to put in a section there that would give the boards an opportunity to, get goals from council in the beginning of the year and then report back on them at the end of the year.
Councilmember Rice, when do they want to do that last one?
They would like to have that on the October 26th meeting.
Okay. All right. So let me respond to all four. Is there any council members that object to the first two meetings that was requested?
Which was the public meeting and then a community forum with the police department.
No, the police chief was another request. That's number 3. I was going to ask the manager, right, the food pantry listing and the public meeting. Is there any objection for those first two? No? Okay. For Mr. Manager, can you facilitate a police presence at one of the upcoming, based on availability, obviously, but on one of the upcoming advisory board meetings in the past?
Absolutely. I'll coordinate with Councilwoman Rice.
In the past, I believe that they used to give us bias reports at these meetings. I don't know if that's something that the Community Relations Advisory Board is looking for. There may not be any, but like I said, that's something that they've used to come to the Community Relations Advisory Board and bring. And number 4, I will punt to the October 5th meeting, if that's okay with you, Councilmember Rice. And no, but I thought we had one on the
We have the one on the 5th and the 26th. The one that they were referring to was the 20th.
Let me punt it to the real mayor, and this way he's running the show for end of October. I don't want to say yes to him or surprise him in case he has some other items, if that's okay with you.
And
Sure.
if it's possible, Councilwoman, maybe the chair can also just touch base with our office about it, just so we can try to get them on efficiently and just communicate, because we haven't really done any annual updates just yet, and ABCR will be one of the first to do it. So I just want to work with them on it.
Yep,
Okay.
I think that would be a great idea, especially since we did put in that statement that we would be doing this with our advisory boards, in addition to our statutory boards. I think would be a wonderful opportunity for the community to hear what's taking place with our advisory boards. And I will forward a copy of these notes from our meetings that was.
And
the chair.
Mr. Clerk, you'll add that on to the next council agenda under
Yeah.
under committee reports.
Yes,
for that
if
one
you're
item.
still on, please reach out to me offline.
Okay,
Yep,
council,
He's on.
council
Wait, I'm not
listed
done.
item.
I'm sorry. I have a couple others. On the, let's see, the Riverway Advisory Board, 2 items. They wanted to, last meeting, we discussed the dedication for a section of the Riverway that would be dedicated to Jordan's family, who was a longstanding member of the HR, I forget, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yes. So I just wanted to confirm at last meeting, we did agree to that dedication, correct? And they were just awaiting for confirmation of approval from council so that they could.
I was speaking with Councilman Rami Rice offline about this, and I believe council did affirm support for this idea last
This
meeting
is for dedication of a small portion for Jordan Woke, I believe.
of the Riverside Walk. Yeah,
The
it's not
Riverside.
the street, right,
No, it's not
Councilwoman?
a street. It's just a small section
Yes,
of.
a section of the Riverway, yes.
Is there any objection from council? I understand you did it at the last meeting, which I was not in. Are we okay with moving forward for that?
Just what section was it, Javon?
I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
I could certainly get that to you. It was,
I'm seeing if I have it real quick.
Okay, it doesn't seem like Councilmember Rice has any objection. I don't think I need a show of hands because it was already done at the last meeting. Any other items, Councilmember Rice, on your?
yes, 2 other additional. The Hackensack Riverway also asked about the PSENG funding. They were wondering if that was possible to consider the acquisition of the Protestant church area next to 1500 River Road and the lot on Cedar Lane next to the Riverside Drive as consideration of acquisition property for the PSENG.
Do we know if those properties are available, or do you have any more information? Can you share with the township manager, like the block and lot or the address, so that he could follow up and see what the availability is of that and feasibility?
Dean, I'll be sure to forward that information to you.
Okay, good.
What else?
And one last was the Youth Advisory Board. The Youth Advisory Board just wanted to share that congratulations to them that they have been nominated by the Chamber of Commerce. And they will be presented at their next awards dinner. Okay, yes, the Chamber of Commerce will be honoring them in November. So they're being honored. And additionally, their first meeting for the year will be on the 30th of September at 7 p.m. So they're anxious for any youth out there that may be watching to join the Youth Advisory Board. And
So
that
very, very well-deserved honor. Thank you for bringing that to us and advising us about that. And please go back to them and let them know that some council members are very sad that they didn't get one of the sporty Youth Advisory Board shirts
I got one.
that are, so thank you for rubbing it in, Mr. Clerk. But I understand that they're very, very popular on eBay, and some of us would like an extra large. Okay.
yes, we'll see if we can get you a large one.
Council listed items, Hackensack River kayaking, Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, on that topic of the Hackensack River, some people have asked me, hey, they have it in Overpeck. Why can't we kayak in the Hackensack River? So, and that's, I'm thinking just the Hackensack River Greenway. Would that be something that we can find out from the committee if that's
We'll tell you
doable?
some history. We'll tell you some history that I believe it was Mr. Fisher came to the council many, many years ago and was working on an agreement to have a boat launch. I believe it was by Andreas Park. And they were going to put up a whole booth, et cetera. And we were very close to consummating a deal with them on that. And then this property by the Overpeck became available, is a little more desirable for them. I think more accessible, et cetera. And that's why they moved it to there. As far as not allowing, I don't know the rules of the Hackensack River, if someone can drag a kayak into it.
Can we ask the Hackensack River Greenway, those folks, for their opinion on this, if there's something they like or don't like?
Sure. I mean, well, what's the question? Is it that you want a boat launch in Teaneck, or that you want to know whether or not people can throw a kayak into the Hackensack River?
Well, both really. Is that something they're interested in? What's the Hackensack River Greenway's response to those questions? That's what I'm looking for.
Who's the liaison for that? Okay, Councilmember Rice, you'll bring that back to them?
Yes, I'm sorry. What was that again, Mark? You were interested in?
If residents can kayak in the Hackensack River, and also if there's ever a reconsideration of a boat launch area in Teaneck versus, in addition to overpad. Did I articulate that okay, Deputy Mayor Schwartz?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay,
Perfect.
yeah, we'll bring that back to them.
Perfect. Workforce housing, Deputy Mayor
Okay,
Schwartz.
this is a very interesting. I'm looking for nodding heads before this potentially goes to the subzoning or whoever. Right now, we currently have a housing in Teaneck that's unregulated, and then we have an affordable housing mandatory component. What I'm looking for, if this council's, what we're hearing from people is, hey, you know, I can never get an affordable housing, and I can't afford $3,000 for a 2-bedroom. In speaking to a few developers around that mentioned some comments, you know, is there something that this council may be interested in providing something in the middle, where it's a lower price 2-bedroom, it's affordable to workforce housing, not people that are making those low income housing limits, but some that are making more money, but not wealthy enough that can afford a $4,000 3-bedroom.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz, do you know the particulars about that? Is that?
No, I'm asking if there's something, and then there'll be a pilot. It would have to be area need redevelopment and a type of
Subsidized.
pilot.
Oh, got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Subsidized via low taxes to bring in that middle, the workforce housing, that middle income people that are shut out of the affordable and can't afford the higher end. So if that's, you know, before we entertain a pilot, I wanted to first see if there's interest from the council in this so-called workforce housing.
You had me until you talked about losing taxes.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know.
obviously, everyone would like to provide housing for all ages and income for our residents and future residents. The question is, you know, how, who pays for it?
Right, I don't have any specifics. It was a generalized question. That's why I was looking for comments such as your own.
My comments are, it's like asking if we like apple pie and baseball. I think the answer is absolutely we do, but it depends how much it costs and who's paying for it.
Okay,
in my opinion.
excellent. Is anybody else? Okay.
Okay,
I'll
very
get
good.
some more. I will get some more questions answered.
Thank you. Municipal parking hours,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, this is an ongoing matter that we've adjusted once or twice throughout the years as it relates to the large Queen Anne and Walraven municipal parking lot. Currently, the municipal hours for this lot are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., a 3-hour parking. I'm not talking about that in the morning. What I'm saying is right now it ends at 7 p.m., but it's 3-hour parking, which means if you get there at 4:01 p.m., you can park for the entire day and night. So anyone that's frequenting any of the stores after 4 o'clock, restaurants, supermarkets, anything, is competing for an entire batch of commuters and residents that park there beginning 4 o'clock and throughout the night. What I'd like to do is roll that 7 p.m. time to 10 p.m., which means that it's 3-hour parking. So at 7:01 p.m., people can then park there for the night. Now, if you own a residence or own an apartment in the area, 7:01 p.m. is still not a bad thing. You're getting home before bedtime and whatnot. But we're trying to get the turnover in that parking lot because right now at 4 o'clock, the parking lot fills up and no one's moving.
So if there's no objection from council, let's go send this to the police traffic bureau for
Yes.
their.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, is that okay? Everyone's okay in that? All right.
Got it.
Specific municipal parking lot, or is that just
Yes,
blanket?
that's a Queen Anne Road in Walraven Drive parking lot. That's the intersection.
I got it. I'll have the police take care of it.
All right, thank you. Apartment building occupancy report, Deputy Mayor.
Yes,
Schwartz.
I just wanted to mention some stats I've received from there are 3 large apartment buildings. Currently 1475 Palisade Avenue, Teaneck Square has is at full capacity, give or take 1 unit that's constantly rolling. There is a wait list that is currently that's going through. Avalon is same. Avalon has a waiting list as well. It's at 100% capacity, and they are generally servicing people over on the waiting list. 1500 Teaneck Road, fortunately or unfortunately, has a 7th-month waiting list. Currently, the September renewals are at 100%, so they are not taking anyone off the waiting list. In short, all 3 of these apartment complexes are fully sold out. At a meeting this morning, we were told that 1475 Palisades actually is running about 1.3 cars per apartment. So there are quite a bit of vacant apartments, which is something this council can think about in the future. But I felt I just wanted to give an occupancy report after speaking with those complexes over the last few weeks.
Excellent. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schwartz. Yes,
Deputy Mayor?
Councilmember.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I just
Yes,
had a
ma'am.
question for Deputy Mayor Schwartz with
Yes.
regard to the occupancy. That's great information to know. Do we also have any follow-up on the stats that were given in terms of their utilization of schools? That was something that was noted. Do you know if that is true to form as to what was forecasted?
I don't have official stats, but maybe Councilman Capel, who's a liaison to the Board of Ed, can ask. The last we checked, the board itself predicted about 100 kids. In speaking to people generally, I think it was 1500 Teaneck Road had mentioned they have virtually none. I don't have it, but those are interesting stats, and I will try to look into that.
I do have them.
Oh,
I
you
don't
do?
have them at the ready. I didn't know the question was coming, but I did check into it. And I asked the Board of Ed, obviously they have buses that stop at these places, so they know how many kids get on, et cetera. And the numbers were below what the assumptions were, and the Board of Ed's assumptions were below even the town's assumptions to start. So it appears that true to form, there were not that many.
Thank you, because this is great to know. Once we put these projects up, it's good to get this feedback in terms of occupancy, in addition to, some of the things that were proposed, that they do indeed come to fruition. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Just a
Thank
question.
Councilman Morgan. Yes.
You said that they're at full capacity. They're utilizing 1.3 cars per unit. Were you trying to say that there are extra parking spots available? Should there be a need?
Yeah, I'm just trying to say that as I heard this, I didn't get a chance to put my thoughts together. But one thing that stood out in my mind is that 1480 75 Palisades has 50 or 60 extra spots, and we need spots in in the area. That's something to put in our head of, hey, how can I
It's also a good education, Councilmember Organ, for us as lawmakers. You know, we're dealing with a lot of these antiquated rules as far as how much parking per apartment, et cetera. But these are actuals. And it gives us a little better guidance on what really today's world is like with Uber and Lyft and people only having one car or half a car or whatever it is. So it's just really good insight on really what's going on in this town and in this world. All right. Any other comments? Deputy Mayor Schwartz, did I cut you off?
No, you did. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Si Se Puedo mural, Councilman Pagan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to remind residents one more time that we will be painting a Si Se Puede mural to honor Hispanic Heritage Month at the Rhoda Center parking lot on this upcoming Sunday, September 19th at 2:30 p.m., and that everyone is welcome to participate and help paint the mural. Also, we will be honoring our Teaneck Southern Little League at this event for the recent accomplishments in the statewide playoffs of the Little League World Series. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We look forward to seeing everybody there.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, Township Managers Report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Our good friends at Teaneck are sponsoring a flu clinic, and they'll be, I guess, holding COVID-19 testing there from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is open to all. They're located at 855 Windsor Road. Please visit teaneckambulance.org for additional information. Again, that's on October 3rd between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. The flu clinic and COVID-19 testing, teaneckambulance.org for additional information. After Good and Welfare this evening, Fire Chief Jordan Zaretsky is going to make a brief statement regarding operational concerns brought to his attention by area residents. If you'd like to ask him a question between now and the end of Good and Welfare, please feel free to email him at jzaretsky@teanecknj.gov or use the Zoom chat feature. The town's going to be holding a fall shredding event in the municipal parking lot located at 818 Teaneck Road on September 18th and 19th. That's this weekend from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or until the truck is filled to capacity. Get there early. We generally shut it down around 11 or 12 o'clock due to the volume of paper dropped off due to COVID-19. We ask that all residents adhere to the following guidelines to make sure it's a successful day. Remain in your vehicles, have your paper in a cardboard box or paper bag. A DPW worker will remove it from your vehicle. Your box or bag should be in an accessible location, such as your trunk or the back seat, and this is going to allow them to easily retrieve it from your vehicle. COVID-19 update. Teaneck is now at 4,000 cases since the onset of COVID. 58 positive since September 1st. 9 are children between the ages of 5 and 17 years. Holy Name has 20 patients currently admitted for COVID. 3 are in ICU, all on ventilators. We are, as I explained to the council earlier this evening, we're making arrangements to reopen gym number 1 at the Rota Center. This is going to be used for booster shots only. We're waiting for approval from the CDC to release vaccine. We anticipate that happening on or after September 20th. The Pfizer vaccine will be given. We'll be putting out additional information as we get this set up. The township commenced with cleanup from Tropical Storm Ida. Arrangements were made with outside contractors to assist with front-end loaders and roll-offs to pick up such items as wet carpeting and furniture and all other storm-related items damaged by water. I say this every meeting. I can't stress it enough, the importance of signing up for emergency alerts to receive my reverse 911 calls, Nixle messages, and blast emails. And this is how I communicate messages of urgency to our residents. These resources were all used pre and post Ida, including instructions on post-storm cleanup. We have roughly 200 households we'll be stopping at to pick up items that were damaged due to flooding. Emergency repairs due to Ida are underway on several streets. One in particular, Oakdean Avenue, literally had large sheets of asphalt peel off, and that was between Morningside and Teaneck Road due to water getting underneath the roadway. As a result of the emergency, we're able to quickly mill the roadway, and we put a skin coat of asphalt on top to reopen the road. This was done the following day after the storm, and we were also doing emergency exploratory work on Ogden Avenue to find the origin of a water-related problem. And we're also addressing a sanitary sewer line issue underneath the Cedar Lane Bridge right now. We're learning that many homes lost water heaters and heating systems during the storm due to Ida. I've spoken to our construction official, and I've put this out to the public. I directed him to waive all permit fees for the replacement of these types of appliances until the end of September due to the storm, including permits for dumpsters. Please be reminded that the importance to secure a permit so that inspections can be completed, which will ensure proper installation, code compliance, and safety. As everyone should know, Bergen County was declared a disaster area. The township will seek reimbursement from FEMA. We're keeping track of all these expenditures for eligible projects resulting from Ida. We received, roughly 8 inches of rain in a short period of time. Many people saw flooding in their areas that never saw it before. Please continue to monitor the township's website and Nixle for information on FEMA and disaster recovery resources. I put out the other day that FEMA has 8 locations set up in Bergen County, including New Milford and Anglewood, which are the closest to Teaneck. In a meeting with FEMA recently, they recommend completing your application online. There are special disaster recovery loans available at a rate of 1.5% over a 30-year period of time. Project updates, quite a few things going on. Repairs to the municipal building roof and gutters will commence once all supplies are received by the awarded contractor. They're difficult to secure continuously through because of COVID. We anticipate, however, that work to begin shortly. That'll be followed by the installation of new windows for the municipal building. That advertisement for that project should go out shortly. Getting the roof gutters and windows done will allow me to complete some of the other repairs in the municipal building, including the staircase that leads to the second floor. We're going to be transitioning to Pagoda Savings and First Commerce in October. They will handle all of our banking needs. This is going to include Municipal, a service that will allow us to accept monies for all departments with the exception of recreation, and the court, who will use another system called CardX, and that will go through Pagoda Savings. So that will be a big convenience for residents to conduct their business with the town. Our dual port 2 EV charging station and municipal lot is going to be connected to Municipal as well. The cost per hour is $1 and the town receiving 90 cents to the dollar. That'll be returned to us. There's going to be a 4-hour limit on the charging station. Our 2021 road survey is almost complete. We're going to finalize that in the next couple of weeks, and I'll publish the streets recommended for repair sometime in October or November, and that work will commence sometime in the spring of 2022. The 2020 road resurfacing project that's being done now is 75% complete. Any remaining work, including concrete repairs, will be completed at the end of this month and in October. We are ahead of a schedule, and we will have done by the time this project ends 30 streets in total. We also completed a draining project at Bennett and Phelps, an inlet at East Lawn Drive. The Hawthorne tennis courts are now complete. This is a hybrid tennis pickleball court facility. Please take a look at it. It came out very well. We're doing final brick repairs at the Rhoda Center as well. This is going to be completed late September, October. Our tax map project, the consultant is finalizing the plans and incorporating our assessor's comments. I anticipate this should be done shortly as well. Teaneck Park, again, is almost complete. We're still waiting for the playground equipment to come in. That should be coming in shortly, sometime this month or early October. That project should be done by the latter end of October, and there'll be all new playground equipment there. The band shell engineering design is almost done as well. As long as there are no delays in supplies and materials, I anticipate and hope that this project will be done by next summer for everyone to use. I mentioned the last meeting, we're going to accept the new bathroom at Phelps Park, and that will be done in March. We do not want to accept delivery in the wintertime. The township installed several new sets of LED pedestrian crossing signs recently. We put them at Van Cortlandt and Intervale Road, Alfred and Decatur, Cedar Lane east of American Legion, where there's a crosswalk by the bagel shop, and River Road by Teaneck Park. I believe I have 1 or 2 sets left. And if there's any other locations you want us to take a look at, we certainly will. Of importance, Sewers is going to be performing a water main replacement on Linden Avenue between Alma and Hillcrest starting late September. They're replacing a 3,000 linear feet of 4-inch water main to 8-inch iron pipe that's going to increase better pressure to the homeowners in that area, as well as to the fire hydrants in that area. Some test pit work is going to start on or about September 29th. Pipe for this project is going to be delivered on or about October 13th. There are going to be water interruptions during this project. Suez will give homeowners 48 hours notice for the time water needs to be temporarily shut off. Suez will also mill and repave the entire work area curb to curb. Next spring, engineering is going to oversee the backfill inspection as well as milling and paving. We're also working on the traffic study for Queen Anne Road to improve upon pedestrian safety as well as improve traffic calming. Engineering is also working on plans for that new crosswalk on Windsor Road, well north of State Street. We also completed many energy efficient upgrades to all of our municipal buildings, including LED lighting, which looks great and is a big help to the older sections of the buildings. Again, this was part of that PSE&G Energy Saver program where they covered about 70% of all the projects. DPW also accepted delivery of a 2021 Ram 3500 service truck. This truck is going to be used by DPW's garage division, replacing an almost 30-year-old truck, and the service truck is used to assist in the repair of assets that have broken down out in the field. And last, I'd like to thank our police department, fire department, public works, department heads, residents, and the guests who participated in this year's 9/11 ceremony and paying respect to the almost 3,000 souls that we lost on 9/11 20 years ago. We had several speakers who courageously shared their experiences on 9/11, and we heard from several members from the interfaith clergy who provided encouragement and support. So I thank everyone who showed up and participated. End the report.
Excellent, Mr. Manager. And obviously it goes without saying, we want to thank the police department, fire department, ambulance corps, DPW, and all the employees that worked so hard during the storm, especially you, Mr. Manager, and the deputy manager who was out there and also came up with that collection idea of damaged goods. It's been a huge help for residents, and we appreciate that quick thinking on your part. Okay, Township Attorney's report.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. There is no formal attorney's report other than what was reported in the closed session today.
Okay. All right, next we got public hearing and adoption of ordinances. Mr. Clerk, you're up.
So we have a few ordinances that we are second reading this evening, council, members of the public. First up, we have ordinance 31-2021, amending section 36-9.3 of Division 2 of Article 2 of Chapter 36 entitled Traffic of the Township Code, prohibiting the parking of trucks, trailers, etc. at all times along a portion of Alfred Avenue and Palisade Avenue. We have ordinance 32-2021, establishing salary ranges and classifications of positions for municipal employees in the Township of Teaneck, included within the Public Workers Association Incorporated and United Public Service Employees Union, Department of Public Works non-supervisory contract for the years 2022 through 2026. We have ordinance number 33-2021, amending section 2-123, appointment of members in Article XXI, Environmental Commission of Chapter 2 of Township Code entitled Charter Administrative Code. We have ordinance number 34-2021, amending section 36-11.2 of Division 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 36 entitled Traffic of the Township Code, deleting restricted on-street parking spaces for handicap at 273 Beach Street along Fort Lee Road. We have ordinance number 35-2021, amending section 36-14 of Division 2 of Article 2 of Chapter 36 entitled Traffic of the Township Code, respecting prohibited parking between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. except on Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays along a portion of Van Buskirk Road. We have ordinance number 36-2021, amending section 36-12 of Division 2 of Article 2 of Chapter 36 entitled Traffic of the Township Code, respecting prohibited parking at all times along a portion of Jefferson Street. We have, last but not least, ordinance 37-2021, amending section 36-12 of Division 2 of Article 2 of Chapter 36 entitled Traffic of the Township Code, respecting prohibited parking at all times along a portion of Jefferson Street between Maitland and Rutland Avenue. And those are the ordinances that we are listing for adoption this evening. I want to make a note to Councilman Kaplan real quick, because I believe that you asked for some more clear language, and that I know we have two Jefferson Street parking ordinances. And I believe that the one that you addressed that had the island there.
I saw it. He had the spur on the side. I saw the language reflected when I read through the ordinance.
Yeah, we fixed it up. So those are the ordinances that we're second reading this evening.
And one of the residents mentioned it too at the meeting, and I'm sure he will thank you for it when he speaks tonight.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Okay. And now
Council comments before.
council comments. Any council members have any comments? I do have a comment. I'll go Councilmember Rice.
Just first on ordinance 31 with regard to the parking on Alfred Avenue. So there seems to be quite a bit of parking there, but there's also that light industrial area. So now with are those trucks affiliated with those buildings there?
Okay, so the trucks are not affiliated with those buildings. Councilmember Organ and Deputy Mayor Schwartz and I walked it on one of walking with Councilmember Schwartz and Organ about 2 weeks ago. That is all going to go away very soon, because that is the building that has been that is going under contract or is being sold and hopefully going to be redeveloped. But that is not allowed based on our ordinance, and our zoning department has had conversations with the owner of the building. So hopefully that will go away, and hopefully now with this new ordinance, it won't be pushed onto the municipal street where it's causing tremendous amount of damage to our streets. Councilmember Organ.
Yeah, so the streets actually become a parking lot for other tractor trailers that need to stop. We reached out to all of the building all of the factories on Alfred to let them know we were doing this and nobody had a problem with it. There's plenty of parking in their parking lots, but the people that are on the street are not part of their businesses.
Thank you.
Okay, and just my comment about the Jefferson Street, I want to applaud the entire council and the manager for acting very quickly. Initially, when there was the incident last year around the House of Worship there on Jefferson and West Englewood, they put in a bunch of different safety measures. This was just one of them, and we did it initially as a trial. And we heard from many residents in the area that they love it, they want it, can we keep it? And this is absolutely going to save lives, and I support this 100%.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'm sorry, I was on mute. I couldn't respond in time. Just when you went on a walk with us to Alfred Avenue, the young lady that lives at the corner that's called into a few meetings and has constantly said, please come down there. I wanted to point out that we did stop at her house. She wasn't home. I left my card. We left our cards in her door, like in her screen door, but I did not yet hear from her.
Excellent. Okay, now open up to the public. Any members who wish to speak, please raise your hand, wait to be recognized. The clerk will bring you in. Limit your remarks to 3 minutes. If for some reason you don't get everything you want to say into the time, not to worry, just send an email to the clerk and he will circulate it to the rest of the council.
I want to reiterate what the deputy mayor said regarding this public hearing. 3 minutes per person. We have a stopwatch here. If you are not able to fit your thoughts and comments in 3 minutes, please email me directly, clerk@tnecknj.gov. We will fit them verbatim in the minutes. I saw a lot of hands pop up very quickly, and I just want to remind members of the public that this public portion is strictly for the ordinances that were just read into the record. I know that there's a lot of people who wish to speak about some of the flooding issues that took place. I see your comments. That public portion for any items on the open session agenda or anything that's on your mind will be following this ordinance hearing. So again, just for the sake of time, if your hand is up right now and you wish to speak about something that is not any of the ordinances that were just read, please, just for the sake of organization, put your hand down. We're going to have another public portion directly after this where you'll be able to speak your piece on anything that's on your mind. Again, this is strictly just for the ordinances. And I see I have a Crete here. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name properly.
Hi, it's Kreitman, but that's totally fine. So before I start, you're saying that after this whole session, there's another meeting that we have to wait on, and then
It's not another meeting. It's just a separate section of our meeting that's taking place this evening. We have
when
two.
will that take place?
It's going to take place directly after this hearing.
Okay, all right, because there's a lot of people on this that are very upset and really would like to talk to you guys. So we would all like to be there.
Absolutely.
If I can just say that all the upset people or anyone who wants to speak to us, they absolutely can and will have an opportunity during good and welfare, which is going to be following this public input on the adoption of the ordinances. The public input, as the clerk mentioned, is just for these ordinances.
Okay.
So any other, so put the hand down, everybody that wants to talk to us or that is very upset. And we will call good and welfare right after the public input for these ordinances.
And just to help people understand, we by law have to do it this way. Ordinances require their own public hearing prior to adoption. So Crete, I'm just going to lower your hand for now, again, for the sake of organization. The first person that I see here is Miss Debbie Alialu. Trying to get you in, Debbie. Hold on one second.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Debbie.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to ask, there was something going on here and I couldn't hear. Are you dealing with ordinance 38, 2021 with the field house, or is that not up for discussion?
No, that's coming later. If you want to speak on that ordinance, tune in for the good and welfare that follows this. This is for the ordinances that are up for adoption, which is
Okay.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. What I just read
Okay.
for the record.
I will wait for 38. Thank you so much. Bye.
Be looking for you then, Debbie.
Thanks.
And
Bye.
Crete, again, I'm sorry that I cut you off. You're going to have 3 minutes in just a little bit. As you can see, we have a lot of people that want to speak, and we just need to try and be time efficient here. I see Alan Sohn. And when you come in, members of the public, please quickly state your name for the record. And if it's not a problem, please also state what ordinance you're speaking on. Mr. Sohn,
Can you hear me?
Minutes. Yes, loud and clear, Alan, you have 3 minutes.
Ordinance 33, make some changes to the Township Code regarding the Environmental Commission. Other than stating that the Township Council wishes to amend Section 123, no explanation is offered of the specific reason or what's changed. Just like our land use boards, the Planning Board and the Board of Adjustment, the Environmental Commission is established under statutes of the state of New Jersey. It is designated powers by statute, covering open space preservation, water resource management, air pollution control, solid waste management, recycling, energy efficiency, and recommendations to the Planning Board and to the Council. For years, I have seen the Environmental Commission try to make recommendations. For years, I have seen the Council liaison, Keith Kaplan, actively interfere with the board and refuse to transfer its recommendations to Council. I have seen emails where the township manager has systematically failed to respond to simple emails from board members. While land use board members are often given lifetime appointments, since May 2020, Mr. Kaplan and the township manager have systematically tossed away qualified, competent members without explanation or justification. Former Chair Bettina Hempel received an unexplained rice notice and was informed by the township manager that she would not be reappointed. I was later at the reorganization meeting where Mr. Kaplan, without any legal authority, took over the meeting and bullied and harassed R.A. Meyer, who resigned in protest. David Zatz resigned, frustrated that the Environmental Commission was not being taken seriously. Former Chair Phil Rhodes tried for months to reach to the manager and was systematically ignored and then pushed off. Same thing with Don Down. Currently, Section 123 of the Township Code says the members of the Environmental Commission are appointed by the Township Manager, but that the Commission elects its own chairperson. Ordinance 33 up for adoption tonight changes Section 123 to say that the municipal manager shall designate one of the members to serve as chairperson and presiding officer, who shall serve in such position at the pleasure of the manager. The ordinance cites NJSA 4069A98, which says that the manager is the appointing authority. It also mentions 4056A-1, which covers the establishment of an environmental commission. Unfortunately, the statute mentions the appointment of a chair by the manager, but says nothing about the ability to remove a chair other than for cause. Where does the "at the pleasure of the manager" come from? Why have so many members been pushed off the commission? Why the refusal of the council liaison to turn over appropriate recommendations? And why the refusal for months of the manager to respond to emails? Why does the manager need authority to remove a chair not allowed by statute when he can just push members off the board at his whim? Ordinance 32 mentions salary increases.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sohn, and I apologize. Doug was teaching me how to use the system. I might have lowered some people's hands. If you still want to speak for the adoption of ordinances portion, please just check to see if your hand is up. I guess we'll call up Dr. Powers.
Again, if you're not able to fit your comment in the 3 minutes, the email is clerk@teanecknj.gov. Feel free to send me an email and I will copy and paste your thoughts and comments verbatim into the minutes.
For some reason, I can't get my video, but I want to reiterate something that Mr. Sohn just said and asked questions about. There is no question but what this Environmental Commission has been troublesome to councils in the past. because it actually does what it is that we framed the commission to do, to represent environmental interests. And these are not interests which the majority of this council have any interest in whatsoever. And in fact, they work pretty tirelessly to cut off the paths by which we understand how we get to open space and so forth. And now we add to the injury that Mr. Sohn just gave us the history of, the fact that the manager, and I don't know why, did he ask for this authority to be able to end a chairmanship simply by noting that the chair serves at the pleasure of the manager, which means he may come up with no explanation, as he has not in respect of chairs Hempel, RA, Meyer, and of the Phil most recently. This commission is just not part of what this council loves. It's got itself now into a position where it doesn't have to justify anything about how it decides to list a chair. I find it absolutely consistent with what's fundamentally at odds with the majority of the people who came to Teaneck because they thought it was a place that honored and respected environmental sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, Peter Glick. Come on in. Peter, you're on mute.
All right, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I plan to make some remarks later on regarding in the good and welfare later on, but it troubles me that this issue that has to do with the Environmental Commission, I just found out about it recently. And within the last day, as a matter of fact, I think something like this really warrants more discussion and community input. I don't think that has taken place. If I'm mistaken, you can let me know. But it seems to me like something this important and this much of concern should not be adopted tonight. And I ask that you move to put this off until there's further discussion and further community input and further explanation of why this resolution, this ordinance is necessary. I think if you don't do that, you're acting arbitrarily and without the community's consent. I don't think you should be doing that. And I ask you to put it off and do that tonight until there's further explanation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next, Mr. Cohn.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
I just wanted to say thank you. I believe it's ordinance 36. I live on Jefferson between the two Winthrops, so I think that's the part that I was very pleasantly surprised. I was away this summer and I came back and someone made the very wise and safe decision. We missed some of the parking, but I think it was very intelligent and wanted to say thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cohen. We appreciate the thanks. Not often, but appreciate it. I mean, from you it's often, but not from others. All right. Next, we have Miss Rogovan. Come on in. I'm sorry, Miss Rogovan, we can't hear you.
I'm very upset about the ordinance about the Environmental Commission. Nearly 2 years ago, several members of the community were invited to speak about the renewable energy program, community choice aggregation. There were lots of questions asked, a lot of discussion, and there were a couple of meetings, and there was support of this program. except for the council liaison, Keith Kaplan. They decided to bring it to the town council. And here we are all these years later now, still fighting to get the council to talk about the renewable energy program, even though it was brought up one time by Javon Romney Rice, who asked to have a discussion about it, and there was dead silence from other council members. So I think, and then the next thing we knew, the chairperson of the committee, Bettina Hempel, was dumped. And she was an incredibly hard worker. She worked tirelessly to bring environmental issues to the council, to the committee, the commission, and to the council. And there's something wrong. There is something wrong with what's going on with the Environmental Commission. And I'd like to see some sort of investigation of what's going on. I've talked to other people who brought up programs around garbage pickup, and that proposal kind of evaporated. So, you know, we want citizens to participate, but if nothing goes beyond the Environmental Commission, that's a really sad situation. So I'd like to see a no vote on this ordinance, and I'd like to have an investigation of what is going on.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other hands, I'd like to ask for a motion for the closing of the public hearing and adoption of ordinances. We don't need a motion.
So moved. You got one.
We're good. Okay, excellent. So I don't need any roll call.
No, you don't.
Okay.
One more hand to get up. You said that.
Okay, and before we actually close, I'm just going to call on Miss Garvin. It looks like.
Beverly Garvin.
Miss.
It's going. Sometimes gets slow. We have a lot of people on.
We're bringing you in, Beverly. It just might be moving a little slow. There's a lot of people on.
Okay, I'm gonna go to.
It's trying. It just sometimes it just moves a little slower.
Should we try Joyce?
Yeah, we could try Joyce in the meantime.
Beverly, we're while we wait for the system to bring you in, we're going to try to bring Joyce in quick.
All right, Joyce, you're in. You're on mute. And just a reminder, this is just for public input on the adoption of the ordinances. If you have a good and welfare comment, that is coming up right after this.
Joyce, you're on mute. Joyce, you're on mute.
Yes, I think I should be waiting for the next session.
Okay.
Trying to get in there. Sorry.
Good. All right, we're gonna try to get Beverly, and then we're gonna close the public input for the adoption of the ordinances.
Beverly, please try to unmute.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just have a question about ordinance number 36. I believe I heard Councilman Kaplan speak about it, the Jefferson Street and how they made changes for the safety measures. So I totally missed what you were saying about that because this is all new to me, so I apologize. But it sounds like you did an amazing job over there and it's a lot safer. So I just wanted to know what exactly that ordinance entailed, if that's possible. And if not, I guess I can look it up.
We're gonna respond at the end of all the input.
Okay.
Input.
And
Thanks,
then,
Beverly.
okay, and I'll have my hand up for later as well. So I should just go back down and put it back up again?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Juanita Brown. You'll be the last speaker for the public input on ordinances. Ms. Brown?
You need to unmute.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, it was a mistake because I really want to speak at good and welfare. Thank you.
Okay, so there's no further speakers. Motion to close, good and close the adoption of the ordinances.
Motion closed.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need a motion.
We're good? All right, perfect. And just a response to how we came about with the safety measures. Last year, there was a bad accident on Jefferson and West Englewood. Immediately, this council and the manager reacted with the police department, obviously, and came up with some community meetings in that area, as well as safety measures that were put in place. One of the safety measures was a temporary no parking on one side of the street to allow safe pedestrian passage. And that was met with tremendous accolades, as we heard from Mr. Cohen and several other residents. And tonight we are making it a permanent no parking on that one side and keeping that area safe. All right, any other council members wish to comment? Yes, Councilman Kaplan.
I wish to comment. I just wanted to throw it to the attorney first regarding the Environmental Commission one, and then make a couple comments about it.
Well, are you commenting on that? Because the attorney has his own comments that he mentioned.
I am. I just wanted to comment on the law and figured I would.
I just wanted to give a before any of the council people spoke, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to just correct the record and once again tell ex-councilman Sohn, if you want to talk about the law and you want to sound like you know what you're talking about when you talk about these statutes, please go to law school and get a degree and learn how to read a statute, because the statutes, and he knows this, in Teaneck for the Environmental Commission specifically, the statute's 40:56A-1, which is in the ordinance, and he cited it, but it says that the governing body may establish an environmental commission, and the chairperson shall be appointed by the mayor. However, in our form of government, which is different than most forms of government in Bergen County, because we are a council manager form of government, the manager is specifically designated as the mayor, and the statute that controls that, which again, I would think that ex-councilman Sohn should be aware of, is 40:69A-98, and it's the power to make personnel appointments. And that particular statute reads that any provision of general law conferring the appointing power or other power upon the mayor or other executive head of the municipality. And in this case, as I just read to you, the power resides with the mayor under the statute for the Environmental Commission. So under our form of government, however, any provision that confers the appointing power upon the mayor shall be construed as meaning the municipal manager in a municipality governed under our statute. And the appointments of the power exercised by the manager shall be so classified. So why is that important? That's important because Teaneck is not run by its mayor, unlike other towns in Bergen County. It's run by the municipal manager, Mr. Kaczynski. And what happens is when there is a statute that says otherwise, that a mayor would make the appointment, the municipal manager should make the appointment. That's the way that the statute reads. That's the way all the case law reads. And what has happened in this particular case was there was an inconsistency in the ordinance. So we corrected it to make sure that it read properly, that the manager had that appointing power. There's nothing nefarious, inappropriate, illegal about what's being done. It's all according to the statutes of New Jersey. Councilman Kaplan.
So thank you. Councilman Kaplan, did you have any additions to the?
I did, and I just wanted to make sure it was absolutely clear for residents, because a lot was said about me. This is our specific code right here. The code, as far as it talks about appointment of members to the Environmental Commission, is very clear. Currently in 2-123, which is the Environmental Commission, says the members and the alternate members of the commission are appointed by the municipal manager. And it says the chair shall serve until the next organizational meeting, and that they elect their own chairperson. Now, when a state statute, as the attorney just said, says something contrary to the municipal statute, the state statute governs. It doesn't matter what our code says. And the code is very clear here. It says that the mayor of the municipality, which the lawyer just said refers to the manager in our case, shall designate one of the members to serve as chairman and presiding officer. Every year, when they have an organizational meeting, that member gets reappointed as a chair. Because the manager decides who that chair is, the manager each year would make a designation as to who the chair is. So it's, they made a comment during their speech that they're going to be getting rid of the person during the pendency of their term. That's not what the ordinance says. If you read the actual ordinance, what it says is that the manager will appoint them as chair, and it says right here in the section, this is under section 1A of the ordinance. The members to serve as chairperson and presiding officer of the commission, who shall serve in such position at the pleasure of the manager, the terms shall be. That's not referring to general members, that's referring to the chairperson, who is literally appointed every year at an organizational meeting. And the state statute says that the manager goes and appoints them. Here you have a previous member of this council who should be well aware of this, knows that the chair is reelected every single year. And he takes a very simple phrase about who is supposed to nominate the chair and makes it into nefarious conduct. This is wholly inappropriate. Any member of the public can go and read this. This is not, extremely complicated stuff, but you do need to know where to take a look. And I took a look at it, and I'll, take a little exception to our attorney here, because I didn't go to law school. But if you read it with a eye towards detail and with an honest read, you realize that our code and the statute don't line up, and that's why I brought it to his attention, and he corrected me on the mayor manager bit because I didn't know about 98. But all in all, it is a wholly appropriate and indeed required change. We would not be allowed to not do this change. And that's why I want the members of the public to know exactly what goes on here, because it's very difficult when someone comes and tells you that you're acting nefariously when you're literally doing what is required by state statute.
Thank you very much, Councilman Kaplan. Okay, can we get a roll call on these adoption of these ordinances?
I need it first.
Yes, Councilmember Rice.
I just have a question. So I appreciate the explanation. I'm just curious as the impetus to this change, because surely we haven't changed our form of government. But I'm just curious as to why the timing of this change in this particular ordinance.
I looked at it.
So it just happened to be because you looked at the ordinance and realized it was incorrect all these years and made the change. Okay, thanks.
Also the same reason we've changed, several dozen ordinances, everything from even not being allowed to wear pants and, whatnot. I've been constantly going through the code and updating things. Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Kaplan. Thank you, Councilman Rice. Would one of you like to make the motion and a second?
I'll make the motion that we approve all ordinances.
Second.
All right, got a first from Deputy Mayor Schwartz, second from Councilman McGahn. Councilwoman Rami Rice,
Yes.
Councilman McGahn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Katz.
Yes, with an abstention on 312021.
31.
Right.
Okay. And ordinances adopted, publications going out.
Okay, now we've reached the best part of the council meeting, the open to good and welfare. It's actually Doug, our clerk's favorite part. Anyone who wishes to comment, please raise your hand, wait to be recognized. We may or may not respond to you, but if we do, it's not going to be till after the close of good and welfare at the very end. not to worry if you feel that that you did not get a response to your question, or you didn't get an opportunity to speak. You can always just send an email to our clerk, and he will share it with the council. And our clerk's email address is
clerk@teanecknj.gov.
And it would be also a great opportunity for you to send a thank you email to the recognition of the night, which is Ron Goodman, the person who's been doing all the telecasting. If you're happy with the results of the telecasting and you get to see us, please send a nice thank you to the recognition of the night to our clerk for Ron Goodman. All right, now open up good and welfare. We're going to start with Ms. Khan.
Again, everyone has 3 minutes. If you are past your 3-minute mark, just for the sake of time and technological lag, we're going to need to cut you off. If we miss anything, because 3 minutes are up, please feel free to send me an email and we'll copy and paste. And Rej McCann.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Certainly a lot of good energy on the council meeting tonight. Thank you, Councilman Katz. Very nice to see you. I missed you at the last meeting. I'm here, I wanted to talk about one town, one vote. I happen to be on the committee of petitioners, and you know, we had a runaway success. We had 3,416 signatures on this petition. 2,066 of those were raised in just 10 days. I wonder how they did that. That's quite remarkable. We had very little legal guidance. I didn't go to law school. I don't have no law degrees. I'm sorry, I'm just a resident of the town. As it turns out, we had to go to court. We spent on attorney fees. You had to pay Mr. Shadanian's office. It was apparently we are also on an unlucky streak right now. So we jumped through a lot of hoops. I guess my question is, since I'm so new to this process, we're all on the same team. So why did we have to go to court? Council members, is there a better process where we could have people from our community speak up rather than taking all of our money, wasting taxpayer money? And honestly, quite a lot of heartburn. I'm sure Mr. Shadanian knows it wasn't a pleasant day yesterday. And it wasn't for me either, because these were my people. And I don't think of it as two different teams. I think we're all on the same team. So I just want to know, is there a better process? How do we get to voice our opinion? And the council did not get to weigh in on this. I appreciate council interest also. I was at the last month's council meeting. I asked Mayor Dunleavy, who's not here, so we won't talk about him, but I asked the council members the same question. Why are we opposing this? It seems logical that it's convenient. More people will vote. And everyone agrees. That's why we had 3,416 people sign this. So just asking very sincerely, is there a better process, or should we have to go to court every time we do this? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. We appreciate the comments. I'm sorry, I also missed your last meeting. I was out of town with my son. All right, next we have Joe Bo. And I apologize, I'm not as good as Doug Roussillon when it comes to the reading of this, but I'm only reading the names that are on the screen. If your name is not Joe Bo, but it says that on your screen, this is the time for you to speak.
Yeah, it's Joey Bodner.
Very nice.
Joey Bodner?
Welcome,
Yes.
Mr.
Oh, Joey
Bodner,
Bodner,
the chair of our planning board.
Yeah, I'm talking as a resident tonight. I just wanted to comment on the manager mentioned earlier in his report about the pavings for next year and what went on this past year. They're almost done. So first of all, I want to thank council and the manager. Excellent job. A lot of the streets that were in really bad shape from the last few winters, and some roads that were way overdue, and great job on them. So I know you get a lot of, as I'm used to it, a lot of complaints of good welfare and unhappy people. I think it's good when there's something good going on to be thankful and appreciative of it. So number one about that. And at the same time, if you could jot down for consideration for next year, Trafalgar up on the corner near the Wellington, right at the turn there, I guess between Reese and Wellington. That area is really bad, and it's on a curve, and it's also an area where a lot of big piles of leaves get piled up on both sides. So it's a very dangerous area, and the road there is completely falling apart. It might even be something worth looking into, possibly filling in some of those holes before the winter.
What street was that,
So-
Joey? Sorry.
Trafalgar, near Wellington Gate. It's at a traffic circle. It's a really bad corner. But a great job to everybody involved in the project of that. I mean, personally, just one street was paved, but there were streets that were a lot worse that really, Downing and some of the other areas down there, Maitland. So a really great job. And I'm sure in other areas of town that I'm not traveling as much. Also, on a personal thank you, due to my unique medical situation, I really appreciate the help with working space and the town seeing it as a need, and it's very much appreciated, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodnar. Thank you for your comments as a resident and our comments as in an official capacity. Wanted to thank you for all your hard work on the planning board as chair. I think you heard Deputy Mayor Schwartz earlier talk about all the successes around town with the buildings and the occupancies and the tax revenue, and you obviously were an instrumental part of that. So thank you. All right.
My
Next
pleasure.
we have- Sorry. Yeah, that you can send a complaint to Doug for. He clicked you off. All right. Next we have Eliza. And I just want to mention while Eliza's coming in, if you can please stay till after Good and Welfare, our fire chief will be giving a nice report on what's going on with the fire department. And I think that's important that everybody hears that. Eliza.
Hi, sorry. I live near Teaneck High School and.
Your name, sorry, Eliza, if you can just state your name for the record.
Oh, I'm Eliza Grotto. I live near Teaneck High School and Teaneck Road. In my area, there are a lot of stop signs. People go pretty fast often to get to Teaneck Road to get to the highway. In the area of Prince and Grayson, there are stop signs that go on Prince to Cranford and to Edgemont. But there's no stop sign going down Grayson towards the light by Teaneck Road, and there's a hill, and people speed there to make that light all the time. I have little kids. I walk there all the time, and it's kind of scary. And now that high school is back in session, there are kids all over the place, and I really think there should be another stop sign, or even just a four-way stop on the corner of Cranford and Prince. No, sorry, Grayson and Prince. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliza. I saw our manager taking notes. Stop signs have specific guidelines when they cannot be put up, but I know that the manager will forward your request to the police department to review it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Ms. Garvin.
Trying. Beverly, please unmute. Sometimes it lags.
Hello?
Hey, Beverly, we can hear you.
Hi, how is everyone tonight?
Great.
First, I want to say thank you. I was on here last month. I'm on Tryon Avenue, and we saw immediate input from the police department where within the next week, the police were constantly out on Tryon Avenue, slowing the traffic down, giving out tickets. It got to the point where people were texting each other because my daughter's 20 and she was getting the text, and they were saying, hey, don't speed down Tryon tonight because the cops are out. So that's the one thing that I had spoken to the cops about, because if you're there, then people know to slow down. And in order to get a good gauge on what the traffic is doing, it would be great if they were on either Van Cortlandt or Rensselaer. No sooner than my accident, and then there were 2 cars that were damaged. Then yesterday, there was another car that was hit, and I sent it to Councilman Rice and Councilwoman Organ, as well as the township manager, Mr. Kaczynski, because it's just a matter of time before, you know, someone's killed on the block. Where this car was hit, if he would have been getting into the car yesterday, he would have been killed, because his car was totaled, and so was the other car, and so was mine. So I was trying to find out a couple of questions. There seems like it would be a perfect place for a stop sign on Tryon and Rensselaer, because no more than 10 feet away, there's a bus stop right there. And no more than 10 feet away is where Miss Thomas's house has been hit twice. Also, as you go up the block where Van Cortlandt is, there's a park right there. So that would be a perfect place for a stop sign. I've been here for over 50 years, and I can honestly tell you, the way these people speed down the block now is unbelievable. So I'm not asking for the cops to constantly be there. I'm asking, what is the permanent solution? I noticed on Palisades Avenue, they have the blinking lights that say 25 miles per hour. This is what you are doing. All we have here is a sign that says 25. It just says 25, keep kids alive. So also, I know that on Queen Anne, they have some white like rumple bumps. And I was told that we're not allowed to get those on Tryon because there's a bus that goes down Tryon into Englewood. However, there's also a bus on Queen Anne. So at this point, I'm just asking for whatever measures can be taken so that we don't have to get on and you know, beg you guys for a police presence. We just want people to slow down. We have a lot of people who are elderly on the block. Like I said, I'm not elderly yet, but I have been here over 50 years. And we also have an autistic child who lives right next door to me. So who's 4 years old. So even if we could have a sign that
Beverly, I apologize. Your 3 minutes was passed. Again, please send us an email, clerk@teanecknj.gov. I will copy and paste verbatim into the minutes.
Thank you very much. And I know that the manager did take notes as well, and we appreciate the accolades in the beginning. All right, Mr. Yucht. Mr. Yucht. All over the chat. You're on mute.
Please unmute, Philip.
Got it. I have a quick question before I start. My wife's unable to speak about this issue. If I need more than 3 minutes, can I extend my talk?
Unfortunately, you cannot extend your talk, and we shouldn't even have, we're really not supposed to even have the back and forth. What we do ask though is if there is an issue that, or a comment that you feel you were not able to get out, not to worry, just send it straight to the clerk and he'll make sure that he circulates it to the entire council.
I've already emailed, I think I emailed the entire council and the manager and the deputy manager. I want to thank Mr. Kaplan and Mr. Kaczynski for responding to my email. I live on Bell Avenue, and I'm sure you're all well aware by now that Bell Avenue was flooded out terribly. Every single home on my block, front, back, and a couple homes on Esther Avenue were flooded out. This is not a 100-year episode or issue or a 500-year storm, as some suggested. We're in the midst of climate change. I think everybody knows that. And the problem that we have here is an inadequate sewer system. I've driven around the neighborhood, and I don't know if you've seen what this area is like, but every road from Windsor Road to past Garrison Avenue, from Route 4 to Cedar Lane, everything empties on Bell Avenue. Bell Avenue has about 11 storm drains on either side of Bell Avenue, but we got over 3 feet of flooding in the streets and anywhere from 6 inches to 5 feet of flooding in our basements. My basement was completely destroyed. I threw out everything. I estimated $50,000 to $75,000 worth of damage and loss. I think it's more like 100,000. Now, I'm no engineer, but the pitch and the size of the pipes is not the only issue. It's the pitch of all the streets and the inadequate sewer, whatever they're called, where the water goes down. It's like there's one on Windsor Road across from Sagamore Park. That's it for Windsor Road, nothing. And if you look at the corners, the storm drains are misplaced, so that water just pours down the street, can't go into storm drains, keeps on going, and when it hits Bell Avenue, our block, that's what gets flooded. This is not the first flood. It's the third flood this summer. It's not the first flood since I lived here for 42 years. I've spoken to the town. I've spoken to engineers over the years. They all say the town can't afford to fix this. Well, we can't afford to live this way. This has got to be fixed. It's got to be fixed quickly. Now, Mr. Rowe came out and spoke to us. We really appreciated that. He reassured us it'll be taken care of, but we really need action, and we need quick action. And it's not simply, the problem is at the corner of Beverly Road and Bell Avenue. The problem is this entire district from Route 4 to Cedar Lane and from Garrison Avenue to Windsor Road. You have to look at the whole area. You can't just look at our block. And and the other thing that needs to happen is you need to talk to the residents before you do anything. You need to meet with us. I need a storm drain in front of my house. I'm at the lowest point in the street. There's an underground stream under my house. Water pools every time it rains in front of my house. It can take a day or two for it to all to evaporate. My nephew, who lives on Wyndham, spent 4 years fighting the town trying.
Philip, I'm sorry, the 3 minutes was up. You have my email, clerk@teanecknj.gov. I will be sure that the council sees your comments.
Thank you. And I will ask the manager, because there are several Bell Avenue residents that have the same concern. I've been in touch with a few. I will ask the manager to advise what is being done and how we're addressing. Thank you. At the end, obviously. Okay, next, Mr. Veach.
Yes, good evening. Thank you very much, Doug. I want to speak about the diversion project. Some of you who've listened to past meetings are familiar with this project by now. This is something that's been going on for about 3 or 4 years. It's really actually very simple. The PSC&G wants 3 easements in Windsor and Votee Parks. Under Green Acres rules, they have to pay the Township of Teaneck $2 million for these easements. The $2 million will come to the township if the township will supply 3.37 acres of land to make up for the parkland diverted. This council has been dancing around this for 1.5 to 2 years. I won't go over some of the stunts that have been pulled, but we're now at the point where the manager is talking to Green Acres about the 3.37 acres. Mr. Kaczynski is doing the best he can. He's come up with properties. Some of them are unacceptable to Green Acres. I don't know if they're paper streets or street triangles or whatever it is, but they're not parkland. Some of the properties that he suggested are acceptable, but they're nowhere near 3.37 acres. Here are 2 suggestions. The first suggestion, consider the swim club property. I know there's a lease that goes to 2037, but you could still dedicate this land as permanent parkland and continue your lease. But whatever you do, I'm urging this council to direct at the manager, report to the residents what he's talking about. I know you're talking about it in closed session because you say so. Tell the residents what properties you suggested, what properties have been agreed to, what properties have been rejected, and keep reporting to us about where you're finding this land. Let the gardening club, let the PPRAB, let the residents, let the block associations, let the people of Teaneck weigh in on this and say, no, I want this parkland to be in my neighborhood, or I want this parkland added to the swim club. I want it added on the Hackensack River Greenway. Tell us what you're doing. Please don't do like the Cannabis Ordinance. Don't pop out behind the screen and say, we've done a deal. Involve the residents, even if it requires a workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Veach. And certainly if you have suggestions on properties, if you can email it to the clerk and share with us.
I've already done that. I've sent it to the manager. He's got my email. And also Mr. Dunleavy asked during a meeting and I sent it to the mayor. It was a long email, but Mr. Kaczynski's also got them. He can share them with you. a long
Thank you.
list of properties that could be used. Thank you.
All right, Noam.
Please unmute, Noam.
Hello? Hello.
Yeah, we hear you, Noam.
Okay, great. I wanted to say thank you to the town council. I live on Rutland, and we were in a bad shape for a long time. The roads were a mess. A lot of my kids, lost tires along the way. We have some older neighbors who I was always nervous when they were walking the streets. And the town did a great job in repaving the road. Also the sidewalks, making them ADA compliant. So I really appreciate everything they've done here. I also wanted to say thank you for all the, the police support and seeing the police around the neighborhood, especially around holiday time. There have been obviously, threats over the past year or so, and it just makes everybody feel safer knowing that the police are around and visible. And so I appreciate everything you've done for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Noam. We appreciate the positive feedback. All right, Joyce.
Hello. My name is Joyce Abrams. I live on Tryon Avenue. One of my vehicles was hit yesterday and totaled, and I had another vehicle that was totaled a couple years back, and it's all because of the speeding that has happened. We've had a few mirrors get knocked off as cars drive by too fast. I have seen the police presence. I thank you for that. We've made it an evening of it, counting how many cars have been pulled over, how many lights we've seen go off. So you've made it entertaining and safer for the block by having the police presence. However, I'm afraid to cross the street to just talk to my neighbor and deliver some food to them because of the fast pace that they're going. And I truly am just looking for some type of long-term situation here. I mean, one of my boys' car was completely totaled, and then I had a van that was completely totaled. And I'm not the first car, and I'm sure not going to be the last car. So I would really, really like to see some type of long-term solution for the speeding that happens. There's nowhere to cross unless I go all the way to Teaneck Road. And the cars just fly through there because there's nowhere they have to stop. That's really all I have to say. I just would like some consideration for the block. I don't know what the rules are. This is my first time on the call, but I'm afraid someone's going to get hurt.
All right, thank you.
I just missed your last name.
Abrams, A-B-R-A-M-S.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joyce, and we're sorry to hear about your car. We do appreciate the feedback. I see the manager is taking notes, and I know that he will follow up with the Traffic Bureau and come up with some type of solution for that area. Okay, Dr. Powers, come on down. You just have to unmute. And if I can suggest to all the speakers or future speakers, if you can just find your unmute button before you get called so you know where it is. Go ahead, Dr. Powers. I'm sorry, Dr. Powers. You're still on mute.
As usual, the public doesn't actually know. It sounds like the town council made a sound decision this evening because it must have told Mr. Shedanian, drop this appeal on these two issues where you were denying access to the citizenry to decide in November how they want to conduct important pieces in this town. It sounds like you stopped him this time. I've watched him function now in 3 separate settings where he takes issues to court, and he does in those sessions exactly what he did tonight. He doesn't bother to actually listen. If we actually go back and look at what Mr. Sohn said tonight, it will turn out that both Mr. Shedanian and Mr. Kaplan corrected things that Mr. Sohn did not get wrong, but in fact got right. I believe that the judges who didn't find a single argument that Mr. Shedanian made yesterday over a period of 5 hours, not a single one of them was he victorious in. He doesn't know how to put together an argument. He charges us $98,000 tonight for his work. But the problem is we should never, as Reshma said earlier this evening, we should never have been in that situation of contesting those petitions in any way, shape, or form. It makes no sense. Thank goodness council realized and cut him off. We need somebody who knows how to articulate and win cases, not lose everything he touches. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. Adam Rousman. Adam, you,
No, it's taking just a second.
okay.
Here we go.
All right.
Adam?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can you hear? Okay,
You
I
just
just wanted to. Go ahead.
You can just state your name and then go speak.
Sure, it's Adam Rousman.
Excellent.
I just wanted to, first and foremost, express my appreciation for everybody's hard work. I'm sure it's late and everybody is have 100 things to take care of, and I do appreciate you guys coming out and really giving your time and your efforts to the town. I did want to say a special, appreciation for 2 things. One was there's a crosswalk that was placed from extending from Warwick over Windsor Road, heading up State Street. And there's a school there. There's a lot of restaurants that are over there. And people were, just kind of flying down Windsor. And that crosswalk is fantastic. It's great. I see everybody listening, watching, paying attention, letting people cross. It's a tremendous service to the town, and I can't thank you guys enough. The second thing I just also wanted to point out was that there was a water leak. I think it was called into the police about a week ago, Saturday, either Saturday night or a Sunday night. The police responded with, I'm going to say within the hour. DPW was there, took care of everything. The water, I'm not exactly sure the department that took care of it, but the water was taken care of, and within 24 hours, the whole thing was taken care of. And again, a tremendous amount of appreciation for all the hard work that everybody's doing. And I can't thank you guys enough for making this town really an enjoyable town to live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Very kind of you. We appreciate it. Debbie Eliyahu. Once again, if you can just find the mute button before you get on, it's usually on the left side of your screen.
Hi.
Your name and go ahead.
Good evening to all. First of all, I would like to thank Dean. I am very sorry, Mr. Yuck, that you had that kind of flooding. I am glad to say we did not. We did have some water, but I was very pleasantly surprised by the phone calls that we got from you, Dean, that were way faster than I could have hoped and expected. I just wanted to say kudos for getting everything organized very quickly. So thank you very much. The second thing is, am I allowed to talk about the ordinance 38
Yes.
Okay. I tried to find information on these fees for the field house, and I've searched and Googled and done everything that I could figure out how to do. And I was unable to find information on it. So how do I get information on the fees that you're going to be voting on? I found that to be a difficult thing to do. I looked
All right, we cannot respond right now, Ms. Eliyahu. We'll respond after. Are you done with your 3 minutes?
Okay. But I looked through minutes, I looked through the town website, I looked through archives. So perhaps it's possible that when when an ordinance, proposed ordinance has something concrete like this, that it also could be included in the agenda for the evening so that the public will have something on which to comment. And for those who are celebrating, have a happy and sweet New Year, Shana Tova Umetuka, and Gmar Chatima Tova.
Thank you, Ms. Eliyahu, and we appreciate. Thank you, Ms. Eliyahu. We appreciate the feedback. And just so you know, the clerk has put that information on page 273, 276 of the agenda. All right, next.
Thank you.
Thank you. Daquan Cedino, come on in. And like I said, mute is on the left side of the screen. Daquan, you're on mute. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Very good. Hi, thank you for having me. My first time speaking on one of these. So thank you for listening to me. I'm a resident of Teaneck. I live on New Bridge Road, right across the street from Cenzari's.
You can just state your name. I apologize.
Sure, for sure. My name is Daquan Cedino. And I guess I'd like to bring up a couple issues. Safety, number one. We have, as you guys know, Brett Park, the Historical Society, right here down the block from me. Directly across the street from me is, I live on the last house in Teaneck. And directly across the street from me is New Milford. And we have residents from New Milford, children from New Milford, who cannot come across New Bridge Road at all. You know, it's a major roadway here. So I think maybe implementing, like FDU has for those caution yellow lights that flash, for cars to slow down when people want to cross the streets. I think that might be a good idea to put something there, because these cars, even though it says 25 miles an hour, they're coming down this road at like 50 miles an hour. And when I went to city council about February 2020 and asked for a report of the number of accidents that just happened in front of my house alone, the number was 157 car accidents. Now that number definitely added. We have definitely added to that number since then. And yet I still don't see any stop signs, lower speed limits, any lights, nothing of that nature. So I think that's something that we definitely need to bring to light here. Secondly, I know you guys have been getting a lot about the flooding around here. And I guess I want to know what's going on and what you guys have come up with for a solution to this flooding, because I know you guys approved 764 River Commons to be built right next door to me. I was the only house on the block. And now, before I was getting 2 inches, most of water in my basement. Now I'm getting 5-6 feet of water in my basement since the construction of this building. And these storm drains really don't help, because I have 2 storm drains in front of my house and the drain to my right, and they all explode with river water. Instead of a kayak port launch, whatever, in the Greenway, how about a pier how about a construction of a pier maybe that rises, that's built concrete above what the water level rises to. And if we're definitely talking about not having the money to fund these things, I think a gentleman mentioned about the Cannabis Ordinance. I think that is definitely the answer to all of your problems right there. Especially when you got states making $2.5 billion in tax revenue. It's a no-brainer to get our hands in the pocket while the pocket's, fat, and not get into the pocket when we're getting the chump change, if you get what I'm saying. But those are my comments, and hopefully you guys take those into consideration.
Thank you very much, Ms. DeQuan, and we appreciate it, and we're sorry about the flooding, and we'll certainly make notes of it, and we'll follow up. Crate, that's how it's listed. You can unmute, state your name, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, you're on mute. Person by the name of Crate.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, so I'm not going to be as pleasant as the other people who were very complimentary of the town council. I know a number of you for many years.
Start with your name, sir.
My name is Steve Kreitman.
Thank you.
So I've been a resident of Teaneck for over 30 years. What I would like, and I would propose, that the next major storm, the people that I see on the screen, including the people that aren't present, some of them live 2-3 blocks away from me, come to the block. Hi, Mr. Kaplan. Come to the block with their cars, and guess what? We'll give them a bed in the basement, and they could sleep there in the basement and see what it's like to live on our block. Now, it's not all of Bell, it's just our block on Bell Avenue, which is an extremely friendly block, and we're super kind to each other. But I'm going to ask Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Kaplan, Mr. Katz, and definitely Dean Kaczynski to come, and we invite you to our block and live there. And there's possibly a storm after Yom Kippur on Thursday night, and you can come and be there and see how you like having water over your knees and having everything in your basement ruined, your cars totaled. We had cars floating all over the neighborhood. The fire engine people couldn't even get down our block. So instead of wondering about kayaking on the Hackensack River, come kayak on our block. We have kayak races on our block. So we don't want to wait and hear that the engineer is looking at it. We don't want to wait that it's a discussion. We want action. We want it now. We love Dean Kaczynski's things, but you know what? Dean Kaczynski could have come and maybe pulled our cars out of our streets. I have 2 cars totaled. A block looks like a tornado. Governor Murphy should have come to our block to see what it's like. It was like that tornado in South Jersey. We've had enough. We're sick of it. We want our block fixed. And maybe build a wall around us like Donald Trump did in Mexico. Build a wall so we don't have to have 4 feet of water running down our block. So thank you. We're sick of it. We expect action, and we expect it, and we expect it now. No more talking, action. There's another storm coming, and I can't afford to just replace the car every 10 minutes because our block is flooded. The lot was flooded for the first time in 30 years. We had waves of water. It felt like I was at the beach. There were waves coming down our block. So you want to take notes. Maybe you want to look at your iPhones while we're talking. You know, you want to get pats on the back. It's time to step up and help our block before the whole block moves out or they get lawyers and sue the town. We don't want to do that. We want action. We've had anywhere from, like Phil Yuck said, over $100,000 of damage, not counting cars, and we're sick of it. We want action. No more talk. We expect it. I appreciate it. Shana Tova to all the Jews, and we're sick of it. We want action. I expect action. If we don't have action, we'll take action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kreitman, and we certainly understand your frustration, especially after you described what happened to your specific situation. Sue Coleman, come on in, unmute and state your name.
Hello.
You got us.
Okay. My name is Sue Coleman. I live on Richard Court. I have been living on Richard Court since 1976, so that is 45 years. In the 45 years that I'm living on the block, Richard Court has never been newly repaved. As a result, over 45 years, it has become a hazard to both cars and pedestrians. Adding gravel to holes and craters on the street is just a stopgap measure. It certainly doesn't compare to what has been described by those people who suffered so tremendously on Bell Avenue and other streets. But to those people who live on Richard Court, it is definitely a problem. Secondly, before my time is up, at the end of the block is Aldridge Court, which has a name, but it has never been paved. It's just a dirt road. It is a thoroughfare for both cars and pedestrians, and it has become, over those many years, a mini parking lot. There are at any given time at least 10 cars parked along the road. Some cars rarely, if ever, move. I'm assuming these cars that are parked permanently are from people who live in the nearby apartment building. What I am asking of the town is that these issues on Richard Court and Aldridge Court should be dealt with. No, and we have been told by the town that it is not in their plan to pave these roads. And it is not in their plan to pave Aldridge Court because it would be too expensive, because they would have to add a sewer line. I don't have another 45 years on this planet to wait. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. And I see the manager is writing it down to be reviewed for possible, future street paving. He will review that with the engineer like they do all the blocks that are put in front of us. And as far as Aldridge, I know that there are no houses that actually face that street, but it is become a parking lot. I think a lot of commuters also park there and walk to the Route 4. But maybe, Mr. Manager, you can look to put some signage and also certainly to patrol there to see what's going on. All right, Juanita Brown. State your name, hit unmute. Got 3 minutes. Come on in.
Hi, Juanita Brown. Can't hear me?
Yeah.
Loud and clear, Juanita.
Okay, I've lived in Teaneck for 21 years. I represent voting District 5 and TDMC. I'd like to speak about the rush job that was given to the Cannabis Ordinance. The township residents really were not given any time to be involved, truly involved with the decision making, part of deciding on this ordinance. Although Mayor Dunleavy is not here, I have to speak on, back in August in one of the council meetings, he shut it off after 44 minutes and basically told the residents, I don't want to hear any more about it. Shut up. That's not, that's not nice. And we pay our taxes. We live in this town because we want to be a part of what's going on and what's being decided upon. And finally, TDMC and a lot of the other residents that I speak to, and I speak to a lot, we want and we hope that the council will amend the Cannabis Ordinance to be more like the ordinance or more like the commission's ruling with the cannabis, such as including social equity, in that the monies that is collected by the town can be used to improve the town. Some could be donated to the health department. And we also want that the Teaneck ordinance follow the rules of including social equity by diverse ownership, meaning minority ownership, women's ownership, and disabled veterans. And these groups need to be given priority, as the state has, or as the commission has done, and they need to get help with completing the licenses application. They need to get funds to help afford the license because it's very expensive. And if you're not a big corporation, you basically can't afford it. So Teaneck can come up with means to subsidize or help them afford, help us, because I may be one of the people, help us afford having a cannabis business in Teaneck. We also need someone to help us to complete the applications because they can be very complicated and difficult. And as I said before, finally, some of the monies that Teaneck will collect to be used to benefit our communities, fixing the roads, putting up more speed signs, because Teaneck is a speedway. The whole of Teaneck is a speedway. And I would appreciate the council considering what I have said here, that they would act on it and amend the ordinance that was adopted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Robert, state your name, unmute yourself. Actually, unmute yourself, then state your name and come on down.
Hello. Hi. My name is Robert. I live on Richard Court, like Sue from the penultimate call. I want to share a picture. This over here. This is not Afghanistan. This is not Iraq. This is not even Palestine. This is the country club part of Teaneck. Richard Court, Aldridge Court, Allen Court haven't been paid, I don't think, ever. Sue doesn't remember it. She's been living here for 50 years. The roads are terrible. They need to be repaved. Aldridge Court doesn't have a draining system. It's just basically dirt and holes. And there's flooding going on there. These issues we would like for these issues to be addressed. Thank you all for your time, and that's all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Robert. We appreciate the comments. Rachel Sasemski, come on in, unmute yourself and state your name.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Rachel Sasemski. I really just had a comment for tonight, and that is in praise of TVAC and how wonderful they are for the community. I know we had to use them when my twins were born and they were premature and unfortunately had some medical complications, and they were always so great for our family. And I know more recently they really helped with the remnants of Hurricane Ida, and they helped a lot of the residents in Teaneck who were affected. Thankfully, we were not one of them, but I know that a lot of our friends were. And I just think they're a great part of our community, and I really appreciate them.
Excellent. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Natalie Addison, come on in, unmute yourself and state your name. Just two Addison.
Natalie, please unmute if you can hear us.
Oh, all right, I'm here.
What's
Good
up, Natalie?
evening.
You have 3 minutes.
All right, good evening, everyone. I have several things I wanted to talk about, but first of all, I just want to congratulate the One Town, One Vote and all the residents who has made it possible to change the council date from May to November. This is a democracy for everyone. My second issue that I would like to talk about, which I mentioned at the last council meeting, and it's my concern with West Inglewood being turned into a one-way street. When, who, and this is going to be corrected. I wish they would get back and let the residents know. I want to know. And it's West Inglewood Avenue. Also, I did a foot patrol in Teaneck lately during the warm day. And I noticed on Lazy, I think it's called Lazy Bean Way, then you cannot walk on the sidewalk. It's all tables and serving people on the sidewalk. That is not safe for pedestrians, senior citizens. Why? Remember, sidewalks and streets do not belong to any private person. That is a public right way, not for an individual. So I wish someone would get back to me and let me know when this is going to be corrected. Now, so I just want to thank you all and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Addison. Yali Elkin.
Okay, sorry about that. It does take a little while to find the unmute button, but I don't get to see it until I'm actually called on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. If you can just state your name.
Yali Elkin. I live on Grenville Avenue, and I have for must be 16 and a half years now. And I don't typically dial into to these calls, but I do want to share that I do appreciate the long hours that everyone on the council and the other related boards put in on behalf of the people of Teaneck. It is appreciated, and I wanted to add that as a member of Teaneck and as a resident of Teaneck and somebody who frequents our synagogue on a regular basis, we do appreciate the increased police presence, and that's something else that we appreciate. While we're adding to the list of roads that need to be looked at, Grenville Avenue between Hastings and Somerset should probably get a look at. The surface is starting to erode significantly. And I think it was exacerbated by the last storm that we had. And if you guys could just add that to your list, I'd appreciate it. And again, thank you all for all the effort that you all put in on behalf of all of Teaneck.
Thank you, Mr. Elkin. We appreciate the kind remarks. And I did note that the manager wrote down the name of the street, and we'll be reviewing it with the engineer. Paula Rogovan, come on in, unmute on the left side of your screen and state your name.
Hi, I'm Paula Rogovan. I feel ashamed of the Teaneck Council and majority and the attorney. I'm distressed that so many thousands of our tax dollars have been wasted trying to prevent Teaneck from adopting a program for renewable energy for all residents. You know about the fires, you know about the drought, the hurricanes, and the flooding right here in Teaneck now. Yet, with the exception of Councilmember Romney Rice, you have refused to publicly discuss the 100% renewable energy Teaneck ordinance that would enable Teaneck to at least try to prevent climate change from getting worse. Residents had to spend hundreds of hours collecting signatures from people for our ballot petition. Shame on you. I must tell you, though, that it was an exciting thing to be out there with other residents collecting signatures, people from all races and religions in all neighborhoods of Teaneck. They were happy to sign. Very few people said no. And a few took the flyer so they could learn more about it before they signed. This is a very popular program, and I'm sure Teaneck residents will vote en masse for this excellent program as soon as we receive our mail-in ballots or vote early at the Rhoda Center. Your rejection of one town, one vote is equally shameful. Moving the nonpartisan municipal election to November, like the Board of Education election, serves to increase voter participation. What on earth is wrong with that? Greater voter participation. It was exciting collecting signatures for a one town, one vote petition initiative also. The only people in this country who try to limit voter participation around this country are right-wing Republicans. I don't know what party you are in, and I don't care, but stop acting like Republicans around the country who are trying to limit voter participation. We need more participation in this to keep this democracy. If there are multi-thousands of dollars sitting around for lawyers, we don't know about it. But if there is that kind of money, develop programs for our youth, for our teens. Don't take residents who under the Faulkner Act simply acted simply to exercise their democratic rights. Don't take us to court. Don't go to court on these kinds of things. This is a shame. Okay, that's all I have to say, but I'm glad there will be no appeal. I urge all residents of Teaneck to vote on the November election, vote early, and vote yes on the 2 ballot initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paula. Libby Klein, come on in. Unmute yourself, state your name.
Hi there. I apologize. I know it takes a while, but it is true that you can't find the mute button until they actually let you start to come on. So for people who aren't used to the screen, it can take a couple seconds. Thank you for letting me speak. I have a couple, I have not been paying attention recently to some of the council meetings, so I apologize if you have covered some of this before, but I would like to hear from the council about what plans there may be in the offing for the Votee swimming pool. My understanding is that last spring, it almost got decided that the pool would not open at all because it is in disrepair and needs repair. And I understand that's probably takes a fair amount of money. But I'm a devoted swimmer at the Teaneck Votee pool. And I would like to know if there are, and I understand you're not going to answer me right this second, but at the end of tonight's meeting, when you respond, I'd like to hear if there are any discussions or plans going on about what to do with Votee pool. And I would hope that if there are discussions among the council, that you would consider and make sure that there are times when you actually hold meetings where the council and the town can sit down together and to talk about what the residents of Votee pool who use it need and want. And if we're going to sink money, so to speak, into a new pool, I think the town needs to be able to weigh in on what that looks like. Secondly, a similar kind of issue regarding the band shell. I heard tonight that it is in the works for that to be constructed. I don't know where that stands in the construction process or in the planning process. I'm not sure whether there have been meetings held with residents of the town to hear what they would like to see in a band shell and what they would feel important to them and help it feel like it's their band shell. But if those plannings and those that project is already far enough along the way that there's no room for us to have a statement and an involvement in designing what it looks like and how big it is and how much it costs, then at least when it gets done, I would ask that we would make the decorating of that, the finishing of it, something that the town can be a part of. I think it's a perfect opportunity to bring together the different groups in this town, which have plenty of conflict and difficulties with one another. Let's give ourselves this opportunity to come together around something that we all benefit and we would all enjoy by creating together whatever that's going to look like as a finished product. And so I really urge you and ask that you allow for that community involvement in putting together this band shell and the pool.
Thank you, Ms. Klein. Jesse Leon, come on in. Mute button's on the left. State your name, please.
Good evening. As you said, I'm Jesse Leon. I'm here because even though Teaneck's been pretty busy in the last week or so with lots of things going on, I didn't want everyone to forget that chickens are still illegal here, and I would like to change that. I would love for myself and anyone in this town who thinks it would be a good idea to be able to go into their backyard, collect some fresh eggs, make themselves a nice omelet in the morning, all without having to engage in industrial agriculture or harmful practices in the industrial keeping of chickens, but in a nice small coop in their backyard that is part of an ordinance that doesn't ban a coop that you can buy off the shelf. So I've suggested what I think is a pretty reasonable ordinance that balances the issues that could theoretically come from keeping a pet like a chicken in your backyard, even though you could keep a pet like a chicken in your backyard already that just happens to not be a chicken. You could keep an ostrich in your backyard right now, and that would be okay. But so hopefully you guys revisit that at the next meeting. It would be probably a pretty quick thing for you guys to do. And, you know, I look forward to sharing some fresh eggs with you guys if ever the opportunity presents itself, especially you, Doug.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And I guess now that there is the new health health officer, we can revisit this ordinance. Thank you, Jesse. And
Thanks.
you should just know Doug happens to be a scrambled omelet fan. Okay, Mr. Unmari. Come on in, mute button's on the left, state your name.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi everyone. Sorry about that. I just took a while to connect. My name is Amara Abbasi. I've lived in Teaneck for many years, from pretty much my entire life, and I've been following the one town vote very closely. I just wanted to take a couple seconds and mention that I'm glad that this question is going to the ballot and that the council agrees with us. My family and I will definitely be voting yes on this question this November. So I just wanted to, mention that. Thank you so much for listening in, and have a good night.
Thank you, Ms. Abbasi. Peter Glick, come on in. Mute button's on the left, state your name.
All right, good evening, everybody. Peter Glick, I have 4 points to make. First, thank you to all the elected, appointed, and salaried officials who make our community work. Thanks also to Teaneck's many volunteer communal organizations and media. Thanks also to the Teaneck Democratic Municipal Committee. I'm proud to be a TDMC member elected by Teaneck registered Democrats. We meet monthly regarding community and government issues, and we regularly speak at these council meetings on behalf of the public. Even two of our very own nonpartisan council members, Javon Romney Rice and Ellie Katz, are elected TDMC members. Lastly, thanks to each of the good and welfare speakers who addressed community issues tonight. Second, an observation about government. No one speaking for OTOV was going to ask to change our form of government from nonpartisan to partisan, only to change the date of elections to provide for greater citizen input. Citizens can and do make their own decisions, provided they get accurate facts in a timely way and have means to make their voices heard. We don't need and we don't want party bosses, not a Democratic Party boss, nor a nonpartisan party boss. Nor do we need leaders who practice labeling, name calling, or who put out misleading and incorrect information. Beyond providing for essential services, community safety, and financial soundness, government should promote greater citizen participation. Good government requires constructive cooperation between those who lead and all those who vote. For my third point, I want to challenge all of you, leaders and public, to foster and create greater transparency, communication, and discussion. We need and demand more transparency, timely communication, and providing opportunities for comment, discussion, and voting before policies are adopted and resolutions are enacted. There needs to be a better way to communicate on the website and via townwide email and telephone notices regarding issues that are priorities and where information can be accessed. As you sit here tonight and as you conduct town business, imagine that sitting right alongside you are all the thousands of petitioners who petition you for relief. Think of the fact that we thank you for your service, but we want to be a meaningful part of your decision-making process. Fourth and lastly, I request that each of you respond affirmatively to this challenge tonight by your words and your actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter Glick. William, come on in. Mute button's on the left. State your name.
Hi, this is William Landers. I live on Bell Avenue and I've been here since 1992. And I've spent a lot of money because of the water issues, trying to make my house and my neighbors have done the same thing, make it better. And in 2011, I came to you and you wrote me back and told me about it was in the budget, it was on the budget, and you still haven't done anything. We're 10 years later, and you still collect our tax money and we still get these problems that you fail to address. So I would like to know, like everybody else, how soon it's going to take. And I'm requesting that if you don't take action, that we get an abatement on our taxes until it gets done. Because there seems not to be any impetus on your side to really show active steps that are being taken. You talked about, surveying and coming up with ways, but nothing has, in my opinion, has been revealed to us on Bell Avenue that says this is what we're doing to address the issue. So those are my comments. And I think that, I'm really serious about, we should not have to pay taxes if you're not going to provide the service, because we're spending a lot of money trying to, even if insurance covers it, we still have to spend a lot of money to deal with these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jason K, come on in. Mute button's on the left. State your name, please.
Just a second. This is Jason K.
Yep.
Jason, can you hear us? If you can, please unmute. Oh, Jason K is saying that they did not mean to raise their hand.
Not a problem. Alan Sohn, come on in. Mute button's on the left. State your name.
Alan Stone, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Having been a witness to the remarkable sequence of court hearings and judicial decisions issued yesterday, it's astonishing to hear that the township attorney had absolutely nothing to say to the public in his report. What an incompetent we have in John Shadanian. I do not have a law degree, but then again, I did not have my ass kicked yesterday, not once, but twice by Judge Wilson. Just this evening, you heard Mr. Shadanian lie to the public. I had read and cited both statutes. The ordinance passed minutes ago states that the chairperson, quote, shall serve in such position at the pleasure of the manager, end quote. I read the exact same statute, 4056A1, and it says nothing about the right of the manager to arbitrarily fire a chairperson. It was similarly astonishing to hear Mr. Shadanian yesterday with an outright and public lie to Judge Wilson. The township attorney falsely claimed that the efforts by One Town, One Vote violated council's right to have input. Apparently, Mr. Shadanian missed the repeated statements in public, at council meetings, and elsewhere from Mr. Scam, Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Pagan, and Mr. Kaplan. It's clear that the council majority has prejudged the simple request to move elections from May to November to make it easier to vote, increase turnout, and save $50,000 every other year. Every other argument made by Mr. Shadanian was similarly rejected. Mr. Kaplan has repeatedly stated that the change will make elections partisan, when even John Shadanian yesterday publicly acknowledged that this was not the case. Mr. Schwartz claimed petitions were misleading, while the judge was abundantly clear that there was no confusion by the 3,500 people who signed. Mr. Pagan says that the council will start to give contracts to strange outside businesses after having given a pay-to-play contract to a campaign donor and taken thousands from party bosses. But the worst is the CATS scam. Mr. Scam has repeatedly and knowingly spread lies that he knows are false. He can't even spell the name of the group correctly. He says that, quote, Teaneck residents who care about our issues should choose who runs this town. The problem is that Mr. Katz operates as a puppet for the Sanzari family, owners of Glen Point, who have given him more than $40,000 in contribution, and in turn, the Glen Point Sanzaris receive more than $8 million from the township, quite a return on their investment. The two decisions yesterday by Judge Wilson are a stunning rebuke to John Shadanian, who has lost multiple cases as he enriches himself at taxpayers' expense. But they also prove that the statements made by council attacking one town, one vote are outright lies. This November, voters will finally get the opportunity they deserve to vote yes on a switch to November elections and on community choice aggregation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sohn, for the always insightful comments. Raymond Addison. Come on in, mute button's on the left. Please state your name.
Good evening and happy holidays to each member of the council. This evening, I just want to say that I agree and congratulations to Mrs. Khan and her organization. And I agree with Dr. Powers as well. We need to find a better way to coexist as councilmen and as members of the community. Yes, the two organizations won yesterday, but Teaneck received a black eye because democracy won. But why are we fighting each other? Shouldn't we all be on the same team, pulling in the same direction? Democracy for all, giving everyone the right to vote. What is the council afraid of? The only thing they're asking is to put it on the ballot for the people to decide, not for the council to decide that, no, we don't want this. Perception is everything. It appears that a lot of the things go on without public input, closing up streets. We find out about it after it's done. The hullabaloo situation, the cannabis situation, all of these things seem to be done behind the scenes, and then the public gets get it later on. It's perception. If there's nothing to hide, why are we doing it like that? You know, the toothpaste has been squeezed out of the tube, and you can't put it back in. So everything that the council does now, not everything, but a lot of the things that the council does now will be suspect to being done without transparency. We need to do a better job. The money that we spent for lawyers' fees, that money could be transferred to Bell Avenue to help those residents over there. The money that we could save for having the voting done in November every other year, $50,000 approximately, could be used to improve the area on Bell Street. And I'm only using Bell Street because that's the number one thing that we're talking about tonight in terms of flooding. We need to do a better job with being transparent. And the professionalism that's going on the council, when certain people speak, it seems as though that the council's only of 2 people. Everyone turns their mics, turn their video off. And the other professionalism is when you don't have, I don't think anyone needs to be insulted about being an attorney, going to law school, and those who want to be lawyers are acting as though they are lawyers.
Mr. Addison, your time was up. I know you have my email, sir, clerk@teanecknj.gov. Please send me your comments if you weren't finished, and we'll include them in the minutes.
Sharon Bird, come on in. Mute button's on the left. State your name.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, Sharon. If you could state your name, please.
Hi, sure. Thank you. So my name is Sharon Bird and I live at 836 Bell Avenue. And, unlike some of the streets that were mentioned earlier, as I'm sure you're aware now, Bell Avenue is not one of those streets that has never flooded before. In addition to the exhaustive and expensive cleaning efforts we've had to undergo to remove 1 to 5 feet of sewage water from our homes. We lost personal items, some irreplaceable. Our cars were totaled. Our appliances were destroyed. And, like Phil and Steve and Will mentioned, my neighbors and I are extremely frustrated. And, as none of us carry flood insurance, while I do appreciate the debris pickup, I, for one, would like to know what additional resources will be made available to compensate us for our tremendous losses. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sharon. And Malak, come on in, state your name, unmute yourself on the left.
All right, thank you. Sorry, it was not giving me the option right away. So my name is Malak Bechit, and I've lived in Teaneck for a large portion of my life. And to keep it very short and sweet, I'm also following the One Town, One Vote case, and I'm so glad that they will be adding the question to the ballot. My family and I will be voting yes. And I'm immensely grateful to see all these signatures and all the support, and very glad to see the steps being taken and being seen by the council members and making sure that they're keeping the interests of the residents in mind. Thank you. I just wanted to express my gratitude.
Thank you, Malak. We appreciate the comments. Okay, Kenneth Burton, come on in. Mute's on the left.
Hello, this is Kenneth Burton speaking. Council members may recall that I wrote some emails at the end of the last meeting last month regarding East Tryon Avenue. And I am on again, first of all, to thank the efforts by the police department to slow the speeding down on the avenue. It has slowed down. My concern is, as was mentioned earlier by another residents from this street, to the long-term solutions for this, because we know that having 2 policemen, 2 different vehicles patrol for a certain amount of hours is not sustainable. So we'd like to know what is the solution long-term. If we can get a response to that, that would be great. Secondly, I mentioned in my email the condition of the walkway leading to, from the Brooks Park leading to Rensselaer Avenue, and how dangerous a walkway that is. If someone were to trip, Teaneck would be in for a lawsuit because that walkway is in terrible condition. Only there are a few inches that are sunken, 7 to 8 inches, and anybody can trip on that. So I'm looking for a response on that to see what can happen. And being well aware of what has happened over the last week and a half with the storm, I am concerned about the garden debris that has been sitting in front of my house since last Wednesday. Along the block there, all of the garden debris has been sitting there since last Wednesday as well. And so tomorrow will make 8 days that it's been sitting there. I do say all of this, considering all of those people who have suffered flood damage. I was lucky enough not to have. My neighbor did get a ruined basement, but I expressed my concern for them as well. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burton. Laverne Lightburn, come on in. Mute button's on the left. State your name. Floor is yours.
She's down over there. She is.
You just need to unmute your.
Okay, I got it.
Excellent.
Okay, hello, everyone. Happy holidays. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, Laverne.
All right. How are you doing? The reason I'm calling is for Anna Street tonight. Anna Street was corrected. Anna Street was paved last year, but since the pavement, we've had several different floods on that street. I'm talking for the seniors. That's the street that I grew up on. And I've called in since last year and it hasn't been fixed. The pitch has to be taken care of. I would like someone to help me handle that situation for them. The other thing I'm calling in for is the One Town, One Vote. You know, it's a nonpartisan group. I've joined it basically because it's a nonpartisan group. I'm so concerned. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to vote. I think that we should try to make it easier. So I was a little disgusted about the situation. On top of that, it saves the money. And I wanted to see more diversity and transparency on this council in the town that I live in. I love Teaneck. I do thank you all for what y'all do, because I know y'all are working, but I wish that y'all could reach out more to the community. The fire engine is a problem. We haven't gotten any feedback on that. You have the cannabis that went in without us knowing about. You have so many different problems going on in Teaneck that all the people want is to be involved. So that's another thing. The thing with the chicken, I feel like most of y'all have friends that want these damn chickens. Y'all are not considering the health factors. And you know there are the previous director of health didn't want the chickens either. They thought it was unhealthy for the communities. We live too close to each other. So with that said, now we have a new person that you all just hired. And now how I look at it is that, of course, she's gonna do what y'all want. So that's something I have a problem with. I'm concerned about the environment with the cannabis. I mentioned that before. So all I'm saying is these are reasons that a lot of your residents are starting to go toward the One Town, One Vote, because we just want to be a part of what y'all are doing. We want our voices heard. And like I said before, all I want y'all to know is that it should never be hard for anybody to vote in this country. So I wish you all adieu. I wish
Thank you, Ms. Lightburn, and if you can, send whatever other comments that you didn't speak to our clerk, and he will share it with the rest of the council. All right, batting cleanup, the most coveted position for good and welfare, the Alex Rasheen position. We are calling on the final speaker of the night, Yasin. Please unmute yourself, state your name.
Yeah, what a privilege to take Dr. Rasheen's spot here. May God bless his soul. First, I have to clarify a couple of things. My team works very hard on the Community Relations Board. So a couple of items here. One, when we say we would like to have the chief of police, we don't mean we want police presence. Trust me, we feel very safe in our meetings. We really want the chief of police because we would like somebody who's able to give us immediate answers to questions related to bias reports and use of force reports. That's that. Two, when the other item, which was the law enforcement forum, we, in light of the George Floyd event last year, we had asked for an event, public forum with law enforcement, and then we had that. So we would like to have a second edition of that. And I think our township manager is very familiar with that. Three, yeah, congratulations to Mr. Rose on being recognized, rightly so. I understand he had raised a concern about the fact that he was dismissed without proper recognition. And by the time we standardize these recognitions, I would like council to please issue similar certificates to Mickey Chelan, Pat White, and Wendy Weinberg DeSanti. I can send that by email later on. You will get a complete report on the charge on that you mandated on us last year, and then that we've worked on by end of October. And then it's going to be time to start working on the next item. And I hope that you have something ready for us, or that you're going to start talking about it. But our recommendation is branding and communication. So we would like to receive some type of charge very soon so that we can start doing our drafting. Now, for the few seconds that I still have, I would like to speak as a private citizen. Alma Terrace, I would like to know if it's on the paving or repaving schedule. There is also still one tree that needed to be cut, and it's still not cut. And I do appreciate Mr. Kaczynski's immediate reaction to our concern about certain trees that needed to be cut on Elm Avenue and at the intersection of Elm Avenue and Alma Terrace. So thank you for that. Now, there was something concerned about how we can be better, communicate better, and etc., and have honest conversations. And I think I don't speak for anybody here on this council whatsoever, but I would like to say that if you would like to have, I guess, a better environment, pick up the phone, call any of these people here, and take them out for coffee, and then see how they think and talk to them. Do you know why? Because for every single story, for every single situation, there are two stories, and the truth is always somewhere in the middle. So take them out for coffee, and if they decline to meet with you, shame them. And from the standpoint of council, you had people that spoke very eloquently tonight. Look how Peter Glick spoke, for instance. He deserves a phone call from somebody.
Thank you, Yasin. I'm going to ask for a motion to close good and welfare.
Move Schwartz.
Second. I'll make a double motion to also extend the meeting.
All right, we're going to.
Second Schwartz.
To 11:30 or?
And Yasin, thank you for your kind comments. We do appreciate it. I'm certainly open to coffee with anyone, although I've cut coffee out recently. But also, Ms. Yasin, just so you know, Councilmember Rice did bring back a great report to the council. So you no concerns there. Okay.
Councilman Kaplan, I apologize, Deputy Mayor. Was it to 11:30 or 11:45?
I heard 11:30.
Deputy Mayor's prerogative.
Okay, 11:28. Okay. Anyone wish to comment, good and welfare? We'll go to start, Councilman Kaplan.
So I want to say I had the honor of attending the 9/11 memorial ceremony this past week, which remembered, among all those that perished that day, the Teaneck residents whose lives were cut short. And it was a very, I'm not sure there's, I guess, appropriate service. And I wanted to thank the manager and those on the Patriotic Observance Board and all those who had a hand in putting it together. To everyone, including Ms. Lightburn and others, I'm always happy to chat. I know you've emailed me in the past. Please feel free to reach out. And while I haven't had many conversations with our health officer yet, I met her for the first time at the 9/11 ceremony. The first 5 seconds I met her, I got the impression that no one, literally no one, is going to push her around when she has her mind set on something. She is a consummate professional, and I suggest you reach out to her. She is eminently approachable, and will certainly chat with you. Regarding the pool, I had the opportunity as a member of the swim club board to see, the issues we were having with lifeguard attendance, and the manager had mentioned hours, and I was happy to chat with him and put some members of the swim club board in communication with the manager, and he was able to bring people together. I've gotten a lot of compliments from the diversity to everybody playing together, and it really was a wonderful thing. It was sort of the best of Teaneck. Regarding chickens, I mentioned to Mr. Leon, we do have a new health officer. I literally just met her, but she's been very busy with COVID, and I'm hopeful to get her comments on those issues and put the ordinance you sent in front of her as well. So hopefully we can get that done. Regarding cannabis, the committee is still active, and we have a meeting coming up with our attorneys to discuss what is potentially available, and that's going to involve community input and coordination. Just regarding social equity, the issues regarding licensing are on the state level, so I want to make sure that anybody who has those issues comments in the right place. Anyone that we have met with happened to have fallen into the categories you were talking about, so they were all minority, union, women shops. I was surprised at the people that were coming out. Wanted to thank Ms. Grodko, Ms. Garvin, Ms. Abrams, Mr. Sednio for speaking about the issues with traffic. Deputy Mayor Katz is absolutely correct. The manual on uniform traffic control devices does dictate where certain things like stop signs can go, but there are a lot of other types of traffic control devices that we can use and review, and we did use lines on Garrison and Sussex. You may have seen they make the lanes smaller so people go slower. I encourage any residents that has those kinds of issues, please feel free to reach out. My email's on the town website. It's kkaplan@teanecknj.gov, and I'm happy to ask the manager to have TPD review those issues. Just briefly about Bell Avenue, you have not just my sympathies, but my empathy. I was a victim years ago of the storm destroying a brand new basement. And, one of the problems here is that, unfortunately, whoever did this the first time didn't really measure twice before cutting once. And while I know having you wait while the manager reviews those issues is not exactly something easy, I would rather get it done correctly and reach out to those that can adequately do those corrections. I'm happy to see the bathrooms are coming to Phelps Park. I'm hopeful that's a type of amenity we could do across our parks in the coming months and years, and really a potty to every.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kaplan. Councilmember Pagan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. First and foremost, I want to thank all of our residents for participating tonight. And I would like to also thank City Hall staff for being here as well to help our residents with their concerns, because even if we don't get to answer all of your questions tonight, we are taking notes on what you say and we'll follow up with you. I also want to let residents know that during the month of September, not only do we celebrate Labor Day and Hispanic Heritage Month, but we also observe National Police Women Day and National Prisoner of War Missing in Action Day. And both are very important days and causes to note. When it comes to Bell Avenue and overall flooding throughout the township, we are working on several possible solutions, and I thank our manager for helping lead the way on that. But I also want to encourage residents to please also consider contacting FEMA, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, who have offered to help residents in need. But I also want to encourage residents to contact their insurance companies as soon as possible if they haven't already, because a number of insurers throughout the state have said they have special assistance programs available to help specifically for Hurricane Ida damages. And just so everyone knows, FEMA has a walk-up site in Hackensack located at 355 Main Street for people who need help navigating how best to get help. And they are open from Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And again, that address is 355 Main Street. And lastly, I want to invite all of our residents one more time to our mural painting of Si Se Puede this upcoming Sunday, September 19th at 2:30 p.m. It is going to be a very fun and very positive event for our entire Teaneck community. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. That is my time.
John. Councilmember Rice.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As always, thanks to all the residents that take the time out to be with us tonight. Thank you to the staff who conducted the 9/11 ceremony that honored our 8 Teaneck residents who perished 20 years ago. Thank you, Chief Jordan Zaretsky, for still being with us at 11 o'clock, and we still haven't got to your presentation. And I also just want to say that it's so important. We appreciate that how the residents have not only contributed to this meeting tonight, but how they are continuously contributing to democracy. I do want to say that I feel it's really inappropriate for the taxpayers to have to be disparaged and disrespected, not only by us as council members, but certainly not by the attorney of which the attorneys for who they pay for. I really would hope that that's something that we can address in terms of how we speak to each other, how business is conducted at these meetings, and the level of respect that each person deserves, regardless if we agree to disagree. There was a question, Debbie Yahoo asked about the field house fees. Hopefully we can answer that question about Ordinance 38, 2021. And we have opted into the cannabis industry. Thank you, Juanita Brown, for your comments. And while the Cannabis Regulatory Commission does put regulations in terms of priority for applications to minority-owned, women-owned, or disabled veterans, it's still important to see how this municipality will enact and follow through with those applications and how we plan to enforce what the Regulatory Commission has put in place. Also, how will the residents have input? And will there be an advisory board? I'm still waiting for a committee report, so I hear that there were many community members that participated, but still would like to know what level of participation existed. I want to just say, so sorry for the loss of all the residents on Bell Avenue. I know that our manager is seeking remedy, and that is something that he is seeking that we want to continue to support. And as was mentioned, hopefully all recommendations and remedies for financial remediation are being sought. I noticed that Tenafly had recently put out a statement that they were seeking input into their downtown revitalization plan, noting that community engagement was a critical component. And often, time and time again, I keep hearing from our residents that they too just want to simply be heard. There's been a lot of great comments and input by the residents, but I can understand that there's a lot of frustration for not feeling that their points are well taken. And it almost seems as if it's the tale of two Teanecks. We have some residents calling in who are very happy, their roads are paved, and they seem to be very excited about their place here. And then you hear a lot of woes. So I'd like to find how we can continue to not have the tale of two Teanecks, but how we can ensure that all of our residents feel heard, respected, and feel like they are contributing members to our community. There was an important note about the pool. And hopefully, Libby, you were one of those fortunate residents to be able to take advantage of the swim club that actually opened up 3 days of summer. It appeared like those 3 days were the best of Teaneck, by really having an opportunity to be inclusive over there at that swim club.
Thank you. Councilmember Organ.
I also want to say I'm very sorry to the residents of Bell Avenue for your loss. I did come by and take a look, and I was a new homeowner during Hurricane Floyd and walked downstairs to water up to my waist. So I do understand and I sympathize, and I know that the manager is working. While it may not seem fast enough, he is working hard on remediating for you. For the residents that came out and spoke about traffic calming measures, I'm very happy to hear that the police department and the traffic bureau was on top of this. I'm curious to hear what they felt about Tryon. I know that Newbridge will pick up now that there's a new development there. So we should look into that. And for Ms. Grodko also, I've gone through that intersection and I agree. To Ms. Klein, I know that we have a swim club now, subcommittee of council. We're going to look at what we can do for the town as a whole with swimming pools. And Mr. Beach, I'm actually intrigued about the swim club for PSE&G land. I think that's very interesting. To Mr. Leon, that's the Mr. Leon that I recognize. I think we had tabled the motion on the chickens. I do think we should bring it to the new health officer and bring it to a vote one way or the other. To anyone who spoke up about their streets, I know the manager took notes, and I know that each street that somebody mentions goes to the engineer before there's a formula divided by quadrants of town. And so I know you can rest assured that he will bring these to the engineer. I did want to let everybody in town know, first, I'm grateful that nobody in Teaneck was injured during Ida because of the storm. I want to thank the police department, fire department, DPW, and TVAC. They were out on foot in boats, pulling people out of cars. But also the manager and the deputy manager who came back or were here during the storm, who went personally to Holy Name Hospital and helped them. Their emergency room was closed. There was only one open emergency room in the area, and they actually helped them bail out water and get back to working condition. I don't think we quite realize how hard they work and that no job is too small. That was Thursday. Friday, they were at the Homewood Suites, handing out food to Englewood residents who were put up there because they were displaced. So these are people on top of our public servants and our volunteers who are willing to do anything for anybody. The 9/11 ceremony was very moving, and I loved the quote that the sentiment that was repeated over and over again, that we would never ever want another 9/11. But we often wish for more days like 9/12. And I think that's something that we keep in mind. And the manager, I'm going to paraphrase him, but he quoted the wife of the pilot of United Flight 93. She said, if we learn nothing else from this tragedy, we learn that life is short and there is no time for hate. And I think that's what we need to focus on. And just a few points to reiterate, on October 3rd, TVAC will be holding a fair with COVID testing and flu shots open to the entire community. That's from 9 to 2. At 2 o'clock, we're moving down the road. The Senior Citizen Advisory Board has put together a very moving tribute to Carol Otis. And that will be done.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Thank you very much. You'll never have to worry about shutting me off because I will not exceed my time. I'm not going to apologize to the people on Bell Avenue. I'm not going to say I feel sorry for you because they don't want my apology. They don't want my sorry. They want action. And I believe maybe the manager will talk about it. I know we spoke about it before in closed session, as was mentioned. Action will be taken, and you will be shocked by the sticker price, but it is something that has to be done to correct mistakes made decades ago. So the only thing I am asking for is patience, not too much patience, because we, God willing, are going to jump. Oh, we have jumped on it already, and it's already started talking funding. So please bear with us, but this will be addressed ASAP. In regards to I'd be remiss if I didn't mention in regards to the public input when mentioning Tenafly, that we have quite a bit of public input. I sat through and participated in Teaneck Road streetscape plans. We had a great community input, practically driven by the community. We've had our sold out affordable housing seminars. We've had community input on our 1-500 housing development and the 189 the plaza development. We've had parking seminars. We had a Shepherd Avenue community seminar. So we've definitely had quite a bit of community input. However, if you feel you do not have any input or need to give me more input, please email me. I do respond to at least 10 to 15 residents every single day. And if I don't respond to you via email, it's because another councilman responded to you first. So please continue to reach out on social media or an email at mschwartz@teanecknj.gov. And lastly, I wanted to just comment that the West Englewood one-way is going to be in place. I believe the manager mentioned for at least 12 more months. That's a one-way street from east to west. If you do need additional roads, you can go Court Street, which remains a two-way street. You can go Ayers, which remains a two-way street. You can go Amsterdam, which remains a two-way street, and Tryon Avenue, which remains a two-way street. So there's plenty of options there while we give our merchants outdoor eating options. As it relates to the sidewalk issue in that parking lot that Ms. Addison brought up, I will take a look and I will speak to that merchant, which has permission and an insurance certificate given to the town. I will speak to him about the sideway blockage and see what we can do. Thank you very much, and happy holidays to all of those who are celebrating.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Mr. Manager, and then you can introduce the fire chief, and we apologize, Jordan, Chief Zaretsky, for your delay. Say it.
Do you have comments?
No, I'm okay. Okay.
Just going to hit a couple of these items, no particular order. Use of force reports and bias incidents can be found on the New Jersey Attorney General's website. They're always there. They're always published. I will make the chief available when a date is set. I have an 11 o'clock meeting tomorrow with the deputy chief, police chief, and the traffic division and engineering regarding Tryon, Sussex, Prince Street, to see if we can resolve some issues and come up with some long-term solutions. Bell Avenue, again, the survey drainage study will be underway. That will take a little bit of time, but that's the first steps in order to figure out exactly the origin of the problem and what we can do to improve the conditions there. Bandshell, we did work with the Recreation Department. We did work with conductors, especially Evan Cooper on this, who gave his blessing. Anna Street, I will look into that with engineering on that complaint. Brooks Park, I have that down as well, the walkway. Rest assured, your garden debris will be picked up. Just with the storm and everything else going on, again, we are a little bit behind. Just to be patient, it will be picked up. And we do have an engineer looking at Voti Park Pool to determine if it is a facility we can open and what needs to be done to open it for next year. Thank you. And I just, if I can, Deputy Mayor, now, if you want to introduce Fire Chief Jordan Zaretsky.
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right, Jordan.
Give it just a second.
Okay.
Jordan, how much time do you need, you think?
Hey, Chief. Please unmute when you have a second, Chief. And I'm really happy that you're here with us. We obviously don't want your presentation shortened, Chief. So if you need a little more time than 10 minutes, just confirm with me right now real quick, because we're just going to need to extend the meeting again formally.
We will not need 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Dean, Council, and residents. My name is Jordan Zaretsky, and I'm the Fire Chief in Teaneck. I'm in my 27th year of service to the department and my 4th as the Fire Chief. When I accepted the Chief's job, I met with the command staff, and we developed a vision for the fire department. We used a model produced by the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation and developed a process that was so effective, we were asked to present on it at the International Association of Fire Chiefs annual conference. The outcome of our meetings resulted in a reorganization of your fire department that made us more progressive, efficient, functional, and safe. It allowed us to expand our service menu by providing the tools, training, and manpower to meet 21st century realities. The mission of the Teaneck Fire Department is to protect the lives and property of the occupants of our community from all hazards. All hazards includes the considerable changes in potential hazards that we face as a public safety agency today, including more frequent 100-year storms, the construction of large lightweight structures within, and the transport of bulk and crude through the township, and the potential threat of an active shooter or terrorist incident occurring anytime, anywhere. In our reorganization, we've addressed each of these potential hazards, while at the same time maintaining our ability to provide fire protection and suppression services at the level that you expect as residents. We've employed a computer-aided dispatch system. We've doubled our rescue capability. In conjunction with the Hackensack and Englewood Fire Departments, we've developed a county rescue task force capability, and we've trained enough of our membership in swiftwater rescue that we were able to help hundreds of people stranded in their homes and cars during the recent hurricane. In the future, I look forward to moving our dispatch operations to Hackensack Fire Headquarters to expand those efficiencies, and to an automatic aid program with the city of Hackensack to ensure that in the event of a fire at our high hazard buildings, that we have adequate resources responding on the first alarm. Unfortunately, there's an individual who does not understand this progress, nor the increased capability and safety it offers each of you. He is spreading misinformation, likely intending to create fear and a public outcry to advocate for his outdated version of fire service management. I was asked to speak at the meeting tonight so that you'd understand that the Teaneck Fire Department is as prepared as it ever has been to protect every resident from any hazard that we face. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. And Deputy Mayor, just let me say I have the utmost confidence, faith in Chief Zaretsky's leadership. He's a fire professional. Not only has he spent 27 years at the fire department, I believe he's a life member of TVAC as well. I don't doubt his decisions and the decisions of his command staff as well. And he has my undying support at the fire department.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. And Mr. Manager, would you mind if we took that statement and had it so that if a resident does reach out to us, we can simply just share that statement?
Absolutely. I have no objections at all.
Okay, so Chief, if you're able to share that, and also once again, thank you very much for staying up late with us. We do appreciate it. And thank you also, obviously, for all you do for Teaneck. And yes, I've gone on many calls as an ambulance member with Jordan Zaretsky, and he's a real professional. And Teaneck residents can't sleep well at night knowing that he's at the top of the fire chain. Okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. Say again, Councilman Kaplan?
Can I move the consent agenda?
Love that.
Second.
And the bill list in the amount of?
$7,748,448.90.
With a second from Councilman Pagan.
And a roll call, Councilwoman Rami Rice.
Just to be clear, Doug, you added in the resolutions for the nomination, or no, the nominations are for the next meeting. My sorry.
Yes, indeed, all good.
Yep.
Councilwoman Rami Rice.
Yes, prior to roll call, I'd like to pull an item. I'd like to pull resolution 240, please.
240 you'd like to pull?
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, so roll call on everything but 240, is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Making a note. All right, on everything but 240, so that's minutes, raffles, resolutions, bill list, resolutions excluding 240-2021. First from Councilman Kaplan, second from Councilman Pagan. Councilwoman Rami Rice.
Yes, on all with the abstention on the bills list.
And Councilman Pagan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ.
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz,
Yes, with an abstention on the bills list and abstention on 247-2021 and 249-2021.
249, you said?
Yeah, 247 and 249 and the bills list.
And bills list, all right, thank you. All right, consent
Okay,
agenda adopted.
now on 240-2021, Councilmember Rice.
Yes, no reflection on Mr. Cohen. I don't know him personally, don't have anything against Mr. Cohen, but I'm just have a question about the process. I know that we did move an ordinance earlier, and then I just had a question. I realized that he's just been appointed in July, and then we have the Class 4 movement. And I just wanted to just have a little point of clarity with the in relation to the ordinance that we approved and relation to this Class 4 appointment.
I will yield to Deputy Mayor Schwartz as the liaison, but I believe that he is the liaison, that Mr. Cohen, who is the liaison from the planning board onto the environmental commission.
This moves, but according to the statute in our code, and Attorney Shadanian can correct me if I'm wrong, it calls for a member of the planning board to be appointed to the environmental commission. And the planning board appointments are from council.
Councilmember Organ.
I actually asked the attorney to do this. It's a correction. There needs to be an environmental commissioner who has a 3-year term, then appointed as a Class 4 member to the planning board. The planning board terms for Class 4 members are usually 4 years. Environmental commission is 3 years. So all this does is reduce Mr. Cohn's planning board term to run concurrently with the environmental commission term. That's all. His planning board term now is 1 year shorter, so that if he's reappointed to the planning board as an environmental commissioner, it would be in the same year.
Why do we want that? Why not just deal with it in 3 years and let him stay the extra year?
Because some of us like to deal with things when we should.
The state statute, Deputy Mayor Katz, says that the term for the individual that is a member of the planning board and the environmental commission terminates on the earlier termination of either the environmental commission or planning board, whichever occurs first. And in this instance, it would be the environmental commission 3-year term, which is why it would end where it is.
Gotcha. Okay. Roll call. Motion, or can I get a motion on this?
Motion Schwartz.
Seconded by Councilmember Organ. Roll call on this.
Councilman Rami Rice,
Yes.
Councilman Began,
Yes, to Yehuda Cohen, who is an incredible human being. Absolutely.
Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
and Mayor Schwartz,
Yes to the environment.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes. All right.
Adopted.
Next, we have the introduction of ordinances.
Should we extend to like 11:35? I could get it done in 2 minutes.
Let's get it done.
All right, we are only hearing 2 ordinances this evening, up against the clock. We have ordinance number 38-2021. If you're looking for the fees, they are attached to the agenda. Just a reminder for everyone, the proposed fees. We have ordinance number 38-2021, amending and updating Appendix 3, fees and charges for township services of Chapter 2 of the Township Code, entitled Charter Administrative Code as amended by ordinance numbers 1-2018, 5-2018, and 29-2020, to amend Recreation Department fees for the use of Devotee Park Fieldhouse. Last but not least, ordinance number 39-2021, amending Section 36-11.2 of Division 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 36, entitled Traffic of the Township Code, adding restricted on-street parking spaces for the handicap at 114 Shepherd Avenue.
Okay. Questions? Motion? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Rami Rice,
Yes to first reading.
Councilman Began,
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
and Mayor Schwartz,
Yes.
Mayor Katz.
Yes. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everybody. Happy
Second.
holidays for those who are
Bye,
celebrating.
Right.
Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Good night, everyone.
Everybody be safe.